It definitely hits different. I can't wait for the second bass drop.
Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna. Chilling with my homies.
Sheesh. This Ricky Desktop guy is really up to something, huh?
Ricky Desktop. What's up, fam? Lay. I gotta bring this. Gonna pop this chat out right quick. About to pop the chat out. Uh-oh, something went wrong. That's not good. Pop chat out. Oh, there it is. Perfect. Pop the chat out. Whip your gad out. We're about to go wildin' out. Take the sad and put it away. As we sway to the beat. Flying like a fleet of soldiers. What's up, friendos? How are you guys? You love the members only stories. Nice. We got more here for January coming up. Am I still sick? You know, I'm not necessarily sick. Wait, accidental admin reveal? What's that? I'm not sick. Yeah, I'm not sick anymore. I just like whatever crap I had in my lungs from a few days ago is just like slowly making its way back. Are you in snow, Joel, and do they turn off water and electricity? No, they don't turn off water and electricity when it snows. Do they do that somewhere? Did they do that to you in Texas? I remember they had issues with Texas, but I think that was because you're like, I don't know, the power company withheld power or like shut down or so. I forget what the fuck happened. Like shit froze and the infrastructure was bad, but around here it's winter is pretty consistently has snow, you know? So our infrastructure is kind of prepped and ready for it. What's up, Ollie? Texas, yeah. Yeah, I mean, hopefully that didn't happen again to you guys. Did you get more snow again, or? I sound a lot better, that's good. Just rattling around in them lungs like a couple marbles. Yeah, yesterday I coughed real hard and some shit from the bottom of my lungs came out, and I actually felt better after that. So I think like, oh, there's an admin. A mod. Mr. Fry. I honestly think, yeah, like whatever's in there, just all I, like, that's why I'm still coughing and stuff sometimes, because it just wants to get that shit out. William, nice. I'm glad you got her into it. Honestly, I feel like the channel does best when people spread word of mouth. Hemorrhoids reveal. We'll have to go in deep. Eating orange rice with sour cream. That sounds yummy. I think I had that last night at the Mexican restaurant I went to. Or at least, I don't know. Did they call it orange rice? It was rice that was orange, but I feel like it was called something else. It's always funny, like there's so much, like at a Mexican restaurant, there's like a series of ingredients that I feel like to them is just kind of like, they might as well just throw it in the trash early because nobody eats it. Everybody just like eats their burrito, and then like the side tortilla with like the beans and rice is just like usually barely ever touched with like the shitty iceberg lettuce. I don't even know why they serve that stuff. I mean, it's not bad. It's a nice filler sometimes, but most of the time I feel like they're just used to people tossing it. Luis, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Spanish rice, yeah. You call it red rice. Yeah, I guess there's all sorts of... Isn't it crazy how many different types of rice there are? How many different types of corn? How did we do it? Evil Adam with the 5 says, hey Joel, just been listening to your paranormal stories today. Are you planning on doing any more of them? Absolutely love them. Well, the most recent paranormal stuff I did was on the members only. And they kind of like, paranormal stories kind of struggle to do well on, normal videos and stuff like that. Hence why I don't do them as often. Because, I don't know, YouTube, it seems like. YouTube's all about, oh shit, all about twerking, bro. Yeah. Damn, David De La Rosa Jr. with the $50 Renos right out the gate says, hi Joe, I just wanted to thank you for your awesome videos. You're just awesome. How's Mr. Pradeep? He's good. Where's he at right now? Oh. I think he exited the situation. He was, wait, no, I see him over there. He's just buried in pillows right now. But thank you, David. Really appreciate that. I don't think I've used my twerk muscles in quite a while. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Do you get scared while reading stories? Not anymore. Some of them, I guess, are like uncomfortable. And you're just like, Jesus Christ. But, yeah, anymore. Like, I just don't feel anything towards whatever's happening in the story. I'm just kind of desensitized to... I kind of feel like I've heard everything. You know what I mean? Chromosomes reveal. There's plenty to go around. The velvet voice. Drinking tea. Hope you guys got some snacky wackies hanging out. Stay safe, King. How'd you know my name was King? No, I try to take care of myself pretty well. I did like a fucking CrossFit workout in the first time in like a while yesterday, and it was just, what did it involve? It involved like a shit ton of rowing, a bunch of goblet squats, and like some other stuff with the it was like clean and jerking like dumbbells or some shit. Those weren't too bad, but it was mainly just like how many fucking calories on the row we had to do, and my goddamn lungs were feeling it, bro. Honestly though, like sometimes working out after you're sick is like the best, because it just like it like really opens up the lungs to where it hasn't been used to for a little while, and like kind of like expedites the process of healing. Brandy Hammond with the 10, #1 fan. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you. There's Hannah. What's poppin'? Right before yoga? Shit. You're gonna have to put me on during yoga. Put me on in class. This song is depressing. Can you change it? I like it. It sounds nice, but yeah, we can change it. What about this one? Wow, wow, wow. Yeah. Pimp game with the pimp line. Isn't it weird? Like, I always feel like rappers, like, they have, like, there's so many of them that have, like, a really hot song, and then they just, like, don't really replicate that success. Not a lot of them do, I guess. Like, I don't know. I guess sometimes it depends on how much you follow them, but I feel like some of them just kind of, like, fall off. How often do you get emotional from all the nice comments on your vids, man? Well, I do really appreciate all the nice comments that people leave, but that's also something similar to like where you see it's kind of like being a pretty girl, and all you do is get people being nice to you all the time for how pretty you are. You know, you just get desensitized towards it or whatever, I'm sure they do, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's like it's nice seeing them, and I do appreciate them, but I kind of like the unique ones. Like somebody was saying yesterday about how like one of my old stories that I read, they had like referenced for like time travel, you know, their kid referenced in like a 6th grade project, and their teacher was very impressed, and I was like, oh, that's a unique piece of information that it's a unique piece of information. Shut up, Hannah. You don't even hear nice comments anymore. Hannah just likes to receive mean comments. That's what really gets her excited, when people say, hey you, what the hell was that about? I'm so gosh darn. I wish I was pretty. Oh, you love being reminded of it? Oh, okay, perfect. You know what? That's actually a good point. I like getting nice comments too. What the fuck am I talking about? I love being showered in just absolute praise 24/7. It never gets to my head, ever. You don't remember my last live was? I believe I was live on, let's see. Today is Tuesday. I was live on Sunday. Was anybody here Sunday? Yeah, work listening. Well, don't get caught. Don't be getting caught. How many zombies can Rob Zombie rob if Rob Zombie could rob zombies? I have not seen that before, and that's pretty good. Homemade meal sounds good about now. Chicken and dumplings? Yeah, go for it. Save me some. Butt crack length reveal. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records. Witching Hour, let's read. New to your content, really enjoying it. Good job and keep it up. Appreciate it. Thank you, Witching Hour. Thank you. Do some people recognize you in person? They do not. No, I've never had anybody recognize me IRL. And it's kind of funny, like, people know that I, like, some of the people that are in my, like, circle of social circles, like, know that I do content and stuff, but I don't think anybody's ever treated me different for anything, which is nice. They just don't give a shit. What up, Aaron? What are we listening to? This one's called Dot Lights Philanthropy, I guess. Or Philanthrop. Dot Lights Philanthrop. All of the Tired Ways. Interesting. But yeah, it's on a mix. Chill Hop Year Mix 2021 Jazz Beats and Lo-Fi Hip Hop from the Chill Hop Music YouTube channel. Give us a hint for the first story, like what it's about. It was something to do because I did a thumbnail on it, or Robin did a thumbnail, and it was like something like I never would have suspected them to harm me or something like that. So it's something to do with somebody not suspecting what's coming. Philanthropy, yes. Sound like I fully recovered. Yeah, I'm definitely there. Like, I definitely can operate at pretty good capacity. I mean, I worked out yesterday with cardio, so that was good. I just got off of work and about to make some burgers with my girlfriend. I saw your notification and put you on my speaker so that I can cook and get spooked. Thank you, brother. You're welcome. Mysterious Stranger. Did you ever see that The Adventures of Mark Twain, that like claymation movie? And I think there's like a specific scene called like The Mysterious Stranger, and it's like, that one's like super, super creepy. Is there a lot of extra members content if I join? Well, it's monthly, so it's like a full-length video done monthly, and so far there's about 3 videos done. I'm currently working on a 4th one for the 4th month it's been around, but you know, this time around I probably won't announce anything on the YouTube community page, because every time I do, people get like pissed. They get pissed that they act as if though like I'm like holding out on them or something like that, and then they say they unsubscribe, which makes like zero sense. Like, why would you, if you didn't even know about this extra content, you would be none the wiser. So like saying that you unsubscribe from like the typical content that's still going to remain the same is just like no different than you not knowing. I don't know. It's like so stupid that I can't even explain it. You know what I mean? You love cocaine? Don't do cocaine. Are there multiple narrators for this channel or just you? It's just me, yeah. I'll have guests on from time to time. You know, just to kind of like help promote their channel or vice versa. And people are just Karens. This is true. There's a lot of Karens in this world who just like to, they're just, you know, they just wake up and they're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go online and I'm going to complain about something. I'm going to go make somebody else's life less livable. You left me out of one thing. I'm leaving myself out of all of it. Is that a Karen comment that Hannah recently heard? I never unsubscribed. I get kicked. I'm a bad bird. Squawk? Squawk, what the hell? Who's kicking you? Is Hannah banning you? Do I ever get bored of reading stories? I do, yeah. I get very bored. I mean, that's the most recent video was fun because it was like there was some visual elements involved, and do I like Disturbin? I don't know if I know who that is. Is that like an artist or is that another narrator or like a true crime situation? But yeah, I get bored of reading stories. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm thankful that I have the opportunity to do so here on, you know, the podcast and all that good stuff. But you know, and just like anything, you do it enough times, you're like, I need a little change me up. Lie to us. I mean, I struggle to lie, I guess. Thoughts on H.P. Lovecraft? I don't know. He's like the, he was kind of like, I don't know if he was the inventor of like the sort of psychological thriller concept, but just like the idea of, I don't know, the universe not really being this thing that gives a shit about you, and there being things within it that are just so catastrophically massive and wide-reaching and terrifying that it drives people mad at just the sight of it. Like that sort of universal, what do they call it, like galactic horror kind of stuff. Like that stuff is pretty fascinating to me, like how someone kind of came up with that stuff, you know what I mean, at like the turn of the century. But at the same time, I think that was sort of like it was like in a lot of ways his stuff is sort of like sci-fi, you know, to some extent. But I love that it sort of like mixes the sci-fi elements with the understanding of someone of that time, like perfectly. Like it's just presented in such a crazy manner. Amalia with the 5 says, "Hey Joel, so glad I caught your live. How you been? Give Pradeep a cuddle for me. I shall." He gets lots of smooches. We got to add up all the smooches at the end. Red Fox has been a member for 2 whole months. Well, welcome back, Red Foxes. Do you want my family witch trial story? I can get the full thing from my great aunt. She's into genealogy and family. Yeah, sure. You know, email it in, send it to Reddit, reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial, or email it to letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. What kind of horror really scares you? For me, it's possession and invader, intruder stuff. Yeah, for sure. You know, the ghost and paranormal stuff like freaks me out, but there's something also kind of like peaceful, I guess, about about those like paranormal stories, because I don't know, it like kind of gives me hope that there's something beyond, you know what I mean, if they are true and stuff. Davis Wall with the 5. Thank you, Davis. And Red Fox with says, my ancestor was the first to die at around 70 years old. Really? So she, like, because I remember I was reading those witch trials things, and it sounded like there was, like, how many people died in that? Like 19 people in those trials. Do I have any merch? I do have merch. Shop.spreadshirt.com/let's-read. And a lot of cool designs on there. But anyways, hello, my friends. We are 20 minutes are over here, and we have reached the spooky hour. Time to put on the spooky music. I wish I had a better, like, audio transition. Do I have a grill friend? I don't know. She doesn't realize it yet. No, I'm just kidding. Just me and Pradeep holding it down. Yes, my 9th great aunt was Sarah Bassett. She was Elizabeth Bassett Proctor's sister, and Elizabeth was married to John Proctor. Yeah, it's just like really terrifying. Help me with my math homework, please. I don't know any calculus, I'm sorry. Let the stories go. What was I saying? I don't recall anymore.
Hey, listen.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Those fucking, just the concept. Hey, Sleepy BB with $20. Thank you. So spoopy time and treats for Pradeep. Thank you. It is spoopy time. We have arrived. For anybody who's new here, basically I'm just going to be recording tomorrow's video. You'll get to hear me make mistakes. It's very all over the place. Sometimes I'll be chatting with chat, but then back into spooky voice and chatting with chat, so don't expect too much of a focus from me, but I try my best. You're part night owl on my mom's side of the family. But yeah, like, I don't know, it's just weird to think, like, you know, 1692 or whatever year it was, like, maybe 1660s, I forget when it was, but it's just like, that's not that long ago when you think about it. Just the concept that, like, once people's brains are infected with, like, a really bad idea, like, they, you know, especially within, like, a group setting, you know, anybody can be capable of some really heinous stuff, and it's just crazy to think that, like, to just be accused of being a witch, but just accused of anything, and then as long as the mob is against you, like, that's the scariest thing within human history, is just human hierarchy, and being at the shitty receiving end of human hierarchy, you know what I mean? Even if there's really nothing that separates you and the person at the top of the hierarchy or whatever, yeah. You love that old intro with the German soldiers and bomb. Yeah, that's still around. It's specific to the Reddit stories, so that'll probably be like next Wednesday. This one's gonna be like the retro, triangular, Illuminati-esque intro. It's pretty dope. But yeah, I try to, like, you might notice, like, certain intros have certain sort of videos that they coincide with and all that kind of stuff. Super evil dark stuff. What do they do, I wonder? What do you think about Microsoft buying Activision? That's crazy, dude. I just think it's so funny, like, whenever, like, a company fucks up, like, another company's like, it's like that dude that's coming behind the trees and he's like licking his lips and like rubbing his hands together, like, this is my chance to go in. But I mean, holy shit, like, remember when Microsoft bought Minecraft from that Notch guy for for like 2 billion. And now they own Overwatch, I know that. But they own Call of Duty. They own Call of Duty. Microsoft owns Call of Duty. I assume that means that like Call of Duty is now going to be exclusively on the Xbox for a while before it ends up like anywhere else or whatever the fuck. Like, that's just crazy. But I think the craziest part is like how much they bought everything for like $70 billion. Grandmaster G with the 5 says, me and my wife's sleeping pills. Oh shit, that's kind of awesome. Mojang. Was Mojang the studios or was it Notch? I thought Notch owned or like ran Mojang like independently. Do I create my intros? Yeah, that's actually, but not me personally, but Robin Mikalsen does pretty much all of them. But that one, well, actually, so Robin does a few, and then the one with the soldiers, that's from Axeman Cartoons, and then the one that like the bombs are going off as the guy's floating above the earth. That one is from Umami. If you're familiar with animator Umami, does the Interface saga. Anyways, next billion rich dude. Yeah, I don't know. That's gotta be a weird experience, like, cause like I don't know. It's just like such a strange thing to think that like the CEO of Activision or whatever was like such a shithead. And then they're just like, hey, you know what we should do for you? We should give you $70 billion. Did I know it snows in Greece? Learn something new every day. I don't know anything about the weather in Greece, about what it would be like on the Mediterranean. Is it like the more north you go or on the water? I don't know what area of the equator it is near, you know. Free as a bird. Okay. Let me see if I have to clear my mic here. No, I'm good. Anyways, thanks for being here, guys. Click that like button if you would be so kind. Whatever floats your boat. Okay, so this all started when my ex-wife and I had been married for around 18 months. Or rather, I started noticing things way earlier, but it reached its peak in the summer of 2007. Shit.
Listen.
Sleepy BB with the 10 says, forgive me, about to down half a bottle of NyQuil and fall asleep to you. Have a great night, Buttersock Cold, Joel Lovers. Thank you, Sleepy. Thank you. I definitely know the vibe of drinking some NyQuil. Hopefully you have some wild dreams. Joel, do you think NBA Youngboy better? I don't know what that means. Will I sing for you? Will I sing for you? No. Or rather, I started noticing things way earlier, but it reached its peak in the summer of 2007. About 2 months after we got married, she started going through some personal problems. Random moon swings. She'd swing her moon around. Sorry. My throat's already like fucked a little bit. I am feeling better though. I just like still have just some shit. About 2 months after we got married, she started going through some serious personal problems. Random mood swings, intense anxiety and irritability, that sort of thing. But we were working opposite schedules at the time, both working our butts off to save money for a housing deposit, so it's not like it was a high pressure. So, it's not like it wasn't a high pressure time for us. I figured that as our living situation improved, so would her mental health. But as time went on, her anxiety just got worse and worse, until she became so dangerously paranoid that she basically couldn't work anymore. And it was agonizing to watch. It got so bad that she wouldn't even leave the house most days, and the worse she got, the more expensive her care was, which obviously put a lot of pressure on us financially as we were relying solely on my income alone. We were only in our mid-20s, but we were living like a couple in their 50s, me working 6 days a week while saving almost every penny for her meds. Things got even worse when I was basically forced to choose between taking care of her, going to work, or carrying on at college. That resulted in us moving in. That resulted in us moving in with her mom. We're moving in with her mom. Joel for President 2069. Is that an election year? We gotta double check. I don't even know, dude. Being president, I feel like would suck so much balls. Doesn't even seem like the president has like that much power, to be honest with you. They just seem like they just say shit, and then sometimes they flex their wiener, and then like it gets challenged in courts, and then you just, I don't know. It seems like you just fiddle around for a while. You might have the bird flu. Uh-oh. Remember bird flu? Y'all remember that? Tylenol PM or diphenhydramine, Benadryl. Yeah, I think that's what's the active ingredient in ZQuil too. It's just Benadryl. Politicians are puppets. I would agree. I think it's all just a fucking show. And everybody gets riled up about it. And sometimes they get riled up and they don't even know what they're riled up about. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't take time to just sort of take a step back, really think about who they are. You know what I mean? And ponder their orb for a second, so to speak, and just, think, is this really worth my energy? Is this really worth my emotion, my anger? Is this really worth losing a friend over? These concepts, these ideas? I would argue no. That resulted in us moving in with her mom and me becoming her live-in nurse with nothing but my student loans and her mom's charity to sustain us. It was there that my ex went through a major depressive episode, working up to an attempt to take her own life that was horrifyingly close to being a success. After that, the doctors decided to jack up the dosage of her meds, which amounted to yet another financial strain that we just couldn't afford. Even worse, the increased amount turned into a Whoops. Do I create my own intros? I already answered that question, but doth you not remember 10 minutes ago? Any more truck driver road trip stories? Perhaps. Perhaps. Is it diphenhydramine? You definitely have leveled up your reading skills. Yeah, I remember reading a lot of like drugs in school and stuff and kind of like getting used to how they were sort of blended together. Are we talking about sleep? I don't know. A lot of people like to be scared here. A lot of people like to fall asleep here. You've quarantined since 2018. Man, what a year. What a year that was. 2018. I miss it. Okay. Even worse, the increased amount turned her into a total zombie. And then, when we asked for an alternative, they gave her a kind of medication that made her really irritable and, I can't believe I'm saying this, violent. My ex suffered horribly, but she was never a violent person before, and seeing her exhibit such rage from a few chemicals was just beyond disturbing to see. We got into a terrible kind of routine where I could only really sleep when she was asleep, which was sometimes hardly ever. One time we got into quite a regular schedule for a few days, going to bed just after 12, then getting up at 8. It was a solid little run, and she seemed a lot better during that time, but I think it just meant that I let my guard down, and that nearly ended in catastrophe. I was always a pretty light sleeper, I think because of just the general anxiety, so even the slightest peep and I'd be up like a shot. You listen to my channel every day. I don't know what I'd do without your videos. Work would go way too slowly. Thank you. Ya boy. It's a great name. Ya boy. That should be like a rapper name right there. Ya boy. Just Y-B-O-Y. Please put your hand over your mouth while coughing. It's going to get through the mic. It's going to get right into it's going to crawl in your ears through your headphones. It's going to be infecting you soon, so prep for that. I need to be cleaning, but I'm here, putting nose strips on my face. Oh, that's what I should get. It's just those, like, nose strips that, like, open up your nostrils. That would be sick. It's 2 a.m. in my country, and I'm listening to this. When I should be sleeping? I like it too much. Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. Personal scary experiences, plan on sharing? I haven't had anything too crazy. I've had some, like, weird stalkerish type shit from the channel and stuff like that, but nothing that's really ever manifested in anything too wild. He had a dream where I was eating shark meat. That's something wrong. Joel smonning that grass? No, I don't think so. Do the nasal strips actually work? I don't know. I never really used them before. But I mean, I've always, like, even whenever, like, my sinuses are good, I always kind of feel like I still only have, like, one nostril that's, like, open, and there's always just, like, one that's just not great. When did Let's Read reveal his name is Joel? I guess I've just done it forever during live streams and stuff. Someone asked me my name and I'd be saying it. Joel, that's a Swedish name as fuck. I don't think so. I don't think Joel's really a Swedish name. I think that's pretty common to see here in the United States. Today was your first day of class, you cried already. That's okay. We can let it out. School fucking sucks. School puts, like, a really unnecessary amount of pressure on people that, I don't know. Like, I always thought it would be interesting if, like, companies, well, I don't know. I don't know how, like, school should work, to be honest with you. I get the concept of, like, sitting, but, like, at the same time, it's also just makes no fucking sense. It's so expensive. It's a big fucking scam. Most of the shit that they give you is just, like, busy work. It's not teaching you, like, any sort of work experience or, like, I don't know. I just feel like it should be a totally different thing than what high school is. You know what I mean? Like, you're in high school and all that kind of stuff, and that should be the period of time, I guess, like, the state ran nonsense that's just, like, you know, learning and spewing it out or whatever. But I feel like when you get to college, I feel like it should definitely be way more application based and, like, personal experience related, and I almost feel like everything should just be a tech school, you know what I mean? Or I don't know, very, like, definitely like right from the get-go, a very strong mixture of, like, academics, but, like, mixed with in the field, you know what I'm saying? Kal-El. Yeah, I'm from Krypton. You graduate this semester. That's a plus. I got hella student loans though. That's what I'm saying. Like, student loans are just fucking, like, it's just nuts, dude. It's a big fucking scam. Just sends you down, like, you know, and it just, like, essentially perpetuates you in this, like, ever, like, you always need to pay them back for 15 plus years during your youthful stages, you know what I mean? Where, imagine if you got out of school and you just had, like, no student loans and, like, there wasn't any sort of social pressure to go do any more school or anything like that. And you're just like, oh shit, I get to be creative with my life experience and time. Maybe I'll go take a chance on something and explore, or literally go try something new, you know. And it's just, but I don't know. I think it just puts a lot of young people right out the gate in their life down a perpetual road of just like wage slavehood, you know what I mean? And, you know, it certainly affords people the opportunities for a lot of good things, but I think to a large degree, most of it's just sort of like socially constructed to be that way, you know, when in reality, like, it doesn't have to be. Oh, you just switched your major? Did you just do that? Yeah, there's very little that's practical, and like sometimes you don't even get to the practical stuff till like later, you know. But even in that, it sometimes has to be like a degree that's very focused in that, and you kind of anticipate it. But hey, Melissa, what's poppin'? I don't know. Even like Sam's school with the Kroners. Thank you. Expecto Patronum. Erectus Malectus. Thank you, Sam. It is kind of like that, you know? And I don't know. I think the worst part is that, like, it seems to be, like, no responsibility on the parents. Like, no responsibility on the parents, even though it should be, right? Like, if you're a parent, it should be your responsibility to walk up to your teenage kid and say, hey, listen, I understand that the next, like, post high school, the next 4 years are supposed to be something where you take out a bunch of loans and you go to this sort of socially constructed almost ritual to an extent where you sort of experience life with other people and have to do a bunch of academics. Maybe you work a little bit here and there to make some spending money, but like, I feel like the parent has to like sit them down and say like, hey, listen, we need to look at this as an investment. You know, like if you're going to take out $100,000 in student loans for this degree, you know, underwater basket weaving is always the meme, but you know what I mean? Like we'll just say that we're going to do underwater basket weaving, like, but like, let's look at the market. You know, like how much does underwater basket weaving make as a job and or major? You know what I mean? Like how long does it take them to pay back their loans on average? Like, you know, is it a job that you will enjoy? Like, you know what I mean? And I just feel like so many people, the data is all there. Like there's so much data, you know, there's so much data that's freely available to every human being to make an educated decision on what they want to do with their future. And maybe school's not for everyone either, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you're going to graduate. You might not even, like, you know, I've had friends, they, you know, and including myself for a period of time where you graduate and then you just work in like a bar situation, or you work at the place that you worked at in college. And then you stay there for a while, but then the student loans, you know, they do kick in like 6 months or something after graduating. And then it's like, oh shit, all of a sudden I have to pay $700 a month or $1,000 a month or $1,500 a month, you know what I mean? Like to this thing that I'm not even really utilizing. And then I've seen a lot of people, they just like kick the can down the road by just going to grad school, you know what I mean? And it's like, and that's just like further down the rabbit hole of academia, you know, that's probably to an extent more or less just a life experience for them, but at the same time they're just burying themselves further into debt, all the way into, some people will go all the way to like getting their PhD, but it does not, like, it manifests into just like some high paying, you know, really high sustaining occupation, you know what I mean? So it's just, you have 2 degrees, you're not in the fields I studied for as my employment now. Yeah, you know, that happens fairly frequently with most people that go to school, and I've observed it. Almost every individual I know who went to school for something, you know, unless it's usually like in the medical field, people can like, that's a little bit more honed in. You know what I mean? Am I reading off of something right now? I'm not. No, I'm just saying shit. Literally just I'm talking. How did I get into creating this channel and working this? I came across it close to 2 years ago now, and I'm hooked ever since. Ya boy. You know, oh yeah, that's a good point too, Paul. Like the disrespect for like people who have like skilled labor. Like, I don't think you understand like how powerful it is to have the ability to be an electrician or work in carpentry or any other skilled area, because like, dude, there are people that like go to school for that for, I don't know, 18 months, get out of school and are making like 80 grand a year, and then all of a sudden, maybe they work as an apprentice under somebody or something for a while. I don't know the specifics on that one, but then like maybe they flip houses, you know what I mean? And maybe they start their own business. There's just like so many different avenues and a sense of like independence from like a really young age but then at the same time, like you mentioned that people, and they're like, ugh, I don't want to be a plumber. And it's not like you have to be a plumber or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, those are very respectable jobs, and they don't take forever to work out or whatever. But anyways, as far as the channel goes, yeah, it was like, I think it was like 2014. I had some roommates that I was living with, and it was around the same time that I got Pradeep, which is funny. But I was like, they were doing YouTube stuff, and I kind of wanted to try YouTube stuff, so I got into narration and shit. Also, mods, can you just get rid of those like Russian bot like things? If you see them, just time them out, or I don't know, ban them if you even have that option. I don't even know. It's not a big deal. It's just, I don't get it. Like, what are they who are they tricking by typing some arbitrary URL? Plumbers are animals? I don't think that's kind of a mean thing to say. Plumbers are animals 100. I don't think you can generalize every plumber as being somebody negative, you know what I mean? It's kind of a mean thing to say. Well, that's the crazy thing too, is people end up working as a server, working in a bar, and it's like, dude, I've had friends that were bartenders and servers that make like, dude, some weekends, depending on the event that was going on there. I remember the one girl I knew, she made like $700 or something in a weekend from tips, and it's like, she didn't have to go to school for that, and that's probably where she's going to end up working, you know what I mean, after or whatever, so it's just like, they'd be laying pipe. This is true. I remind you of a young Bernie Sanders. Everybody's got to go to trade schools. Trade schools. We got to start thinking about different opportunities for different people. Alright, anyways. You're a martial arts instructor, started 1 month after high school and make a good living. That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like such a satisfying sort of like, you're a mentor to people, you're helping people stay in shape and learning a discipline. I mean, I like, what's his name? I randomly ended up on the Instagram page of Lupe Fiasco, if you're familiar with him. He's a hip-hop artist, and like his days, he says he just he goes and does his discipline of like martial arts during the day, and then he comes home and just produces music, you know what I mean, and I'm like, man, that sounds like a fucking fantastic existence. SJ Curtis with the 5 says, I nearly died when I heard your hilarious reads caught me off guard. I can't wait for more. The hilarious reads. Those weren't me, by the way. Those might have been, unless you're referring to like the end of videos, but that was C Mustard. And I think I took most of those down because they kind of had like a lot of language that I just kind of didn't really think was sort of in the creative direction that the channel is sort of going in. Miss Molly with the 10 says, Joel, my love, I'm tubeless. Oh, I also found out I have stage 1 endometriosis, which is okay. I just like being aware of my body and what to do with it to keep it healthy. Thank you for streaming tonight. Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you're, made aware of it and all that kind of stuff, because it's good to catch that early. But thank you for the 10. It's always good to have you here. You made your career climbing through bars and counter service. The Karen I sit is, what is it? The Karen, we also suffer some crazy. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, the bar scene, the service scene. It's tough because it's not like a professional. I think that was the weirdest thing, is working in the bar scene and then going to, healthcare. There was a degree of similarities there, but there was, once I got into healthcare, like the degree of like just your coworkers trying their best to be a little bit more professional or being held to a higher degree. It was a refreshing thing because it was a type of consistency that you knew was hopefully going to be there, Do I want to see your art? I mainly do horror stuff. Well, yeah, for sure. Just tag me on social media, wherever, and I'll probably see it. That'd be awesome. Trades are a necessity. There's a lot of honor in keeping our houses warm, water flowing, etc. I never snub my nose. They're human beings. Oh, for sure. Yeah, exactly. And exactly. It's wild to me. It's in demand too. I don't know. I am curious, like, as time goes on, if people, will slowly, deviate away from schooling or telling their kids to go to school, and maybe college won't be as, like, I don't know, college attendance won't be as prevalent as time goes on because it's just not, like, a great return on the investment. Johanna, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but we're happy to have you here. And yeah, thank you. About 5 years after graduating, I finally went full-time employment. My dream job, never give up on your dreams. It's true, like, same with the YouTube thing. Like, I tried YouTube because it just looked like a happier place for me, a sense of freedom. You know what I mean? Like, a place to sort of do creative expression and creating things while also making a living. And I'm, one of the few that, make it work, that it works out. Like, I'm not saying this is easy at all, and it's definitely gotten harder as time has gone on too, and stipulations have changed and stuff for that, in that respect. But yeah, but I'm very thankful to have just like followed through and really stuck with something. We're gonna slowly devolve into cavemen like Planet of the Apes. Maybe, I don't know. If things get real bad, I hope not. I don't think I'd be a very good caveman. Cave dude. Even worse, the increased amount turned her... Oops, okay. Now I remember where we're at. Even worse, the increased amount turned her into a total zombie. Then, when we asked for an alternative, they gave her a kind of medication that made her really irritable and, I can't believe I'm saying this, violent. My ex suffered horribly, but she was never a violent person, and seeing her exhibit such rage from a few chemicals was... And seeing her exhibit such rage from a few chemicals was just beyond disturbing to see. We got into a terrible kind of routine where I could only really sleep when she was asleep, which was sometimes hardly ever. One time we got into quite a regular schedule for a few days, going to bed just after 12, then getting up at 8. It was a solid little run, and she seemed a lot better during that time, but I think it just meant that I let my guard down, and that nearly ended in catastrophe. I was always, my bad. I was always a pretty light sleeper. I think because just of the general anxiety, so even the slightest peep and I'd be up like a light. Fuck, why is my throat keep... This is so annoying.
Hey, listen.
Where do I see myself in the long run? I don't know. I mean, I hope the YouTube continues to grow, and I really see the podcast continuing to be something that, like, you know, is really foundationally competitive, you know, as far as compared to YouTube and that kind of thing. So I see that as being like a larger pillar in my existence. But, you know, I do hope at some point to try to break into like professional voice acting somehow. I don't know how. I don't really have any sort of mentors or anybody to like teach me what to do, you know what I mean? I know we've talked about this 100 times, so it's kind of like probably getting old to hear, but I do hope to like make that a thing at some point. I don't know, how or when or what, but I think it would be pretty dope. Bro, YouTubers are disillusioned, man. You're down to earth, which is so rare. Thanks, Eli. I never really looked at myself as anything, you know what I mean? Like anything, like I just have a voice, you know what I mean? I have a voice that helps people sleep and sort of a work ethic to continue to, you know, put out content, you know what I mean? I never really looked at myself as having opinions that are any higher than anybody else or any sort of like ability that constitute anything better, you know what I mean? I think a lot, I don't know, maybe you guys have noticed this, but I think within the narration community, a lot of people are pretty normal. Like, obviously, they're a little weird sometimes, but because of the whole horror thing or whatever, but, like, I think for the most part, people in the narration community are pretty chill. Like, they don't really, I don't know, there's nothing, like, I see a lot of, like, people within, like, the sort of Call of Duty gamer world who just, like, they hate on each other all the time and create all this sort of inter-communal drama, and to me it just seems illogical and very, very immature and weird, and but I guess that's part of their brand, is just like causing issues with people or whatever. Sorry. We believe in you, Joel. You'd be an amazing voice actor. Thank you, Sadie. Now look at how many people love you. I appreciate it. Are you, Chills, and Mortis Media cool with each other? Yeah, for sure. I love Chills. Like, he's like one of the like literally Chills is one of the nicest people in the community because he's just he's like so humble. You know what I mean? Because he's had like tippity top tier success in the sense of you know, he's even just recently was on Adult Swim, I think, on like a cartoon show, and you know, he's had a lot of success with sort of, you know, ending up on various YouTubers, like really popular. I remember him being on like a montage for like a PewDiePie video and stuff, and that's not like, you know, it's not saying that's not like the biggest deal in the world, because like PewDiePie looks at memes and shit like that, but at the same time, like, he's definitely a very popular individual who has stayed very, very humble, and he still does charity streams, and he's just a good guy, you know. He is Canadian though, so, you know, what do you expect? Good people. Thoughts on Mr. Nightmare? Yeah, I love, Mr. Nightmare, I think is smart. He found his niche. He's like light years above like other channels as far as like viewership goes, which is great. And he just sort of keeps to himself. I literally don't know a single person within the narration community that's like ever talked to Mr. Nightmare. I mean, I think like Corpse and those kind of guys have, but I think that's because they were sort of on the same level as far as success goes and shit. But he's just smart, you know what I mean? He just keeps his head down. He probably like has other shit going on in his life, and he just makes his content and rolls on through. Have you ever spoken to a crackhead? I don't think so. Alright, anyways. One time we got into quite a regular schedule for a few days, going to bed just after 12, then getting up at 8. It was a solid little run, and she seemed a lot better during that time, but I think it just meant I let my guard down, and that nearly ended... and that nearly ended in catastrophe. I was always a pretty light sleeper, I think because just of the general anxiety that I had, so even the slightest peep and I'd be up like a light. But sometimes when I had a heavy load of schoolwork, I'd be up for like 20 plus hours and then go comatose for like 10. So this one time, I wake up and I can tell straight away that I'm alone in our bed. Only I can also tell that I'm not alone in our bedroom. There's someone stood at the end of our bed, standing perfectly still. It was a relief to see it was just my wife, but then I saw the knife in her hand, and I swear to God, I felt a chill go through me. We'd been locking up the sharp implement... We'd been locking up the sharp stuff for a while, so I had no idea how she got her hands on the knife. And as she's holding it, she's just mumbling quietly to herself. I remember straining my ears in an effort to work out what she was saying, and Jesus, I can barely describe the feeling when I realized she was arguing with herself about the pros and cons of murdering me versus leaving me alive. It was all broken, mostly nonsensical stuff, but it was basically along the lines of, he stops me from doing what I want, hurting people, and ending it. But there's no one else I can talk to. I need him. He needs me. He can probably... Oh, not he. She... You can probably imagine how that made me feel, hearing the person I love most in the world debating whether or not I deserve to live. I just remember rolling over her real slow and addressing her really softly by her pet name. Bunny, you don't have to do this. I then filled every single second of the next minute or so with chatter, listing all the reasons why she shouldn't do it. She'd go to prison. Everyone would be heartbroken. We'd never get to have kids. Everything we worked for would be gone. I'd be gone. When I finally ran out of things to say, there was this brief moment of silence, and I honestly thought the last thing I'd ever see was my wife diving on top of me with that blade shining in the dark. But after a moment, she just crawled back into bed, put the knife under her pillow, then laid there until she fell asleep. I just sat there, shaking and trying not to lose it, all until I finally heard that deep breathing that tells you someone's asleep. Then I really carefully took the knife out from under her pillow, went downstairs, then locked it inside the lockbox we kept in one of the cabinets. After that, I let out a whole lot of emotion, as quietly as possible, even drank a little to try to calm my nerves. When I was done, I crawled back into bed, wrapped my arms around her, then fell asleep The next morning, when we woke up, she had absolutely no recollection of the event. She told me I must have had a nightmare, and that she'd slept like a log the whole night through. There was this horrible, half-asleep moment when I thought she might have been right. One quickly expelled when I realized I could still taste the vodka in my mouth. Needless to say, we're not together anymore. Not directly because of her condition, but because she just wasn't happy being with someone anymore. It was heartbreaking, but I signed the papers. Last thing I ever want to do is be a burden to her. We keep in touch every so often, and I've never tried to remind her of that night. But part of me thinks she still wouldn't remember, that it was just some horrible side effect of her medication, and she'd never have done something like that otherwise. But still, it had me shaken up for a while. But can you blame me? The last person in the world I'd ever expected to almost killed me in our marriage bed. Yikers. It is kind of weird to think, like, imagine getting married to someone and they just fucking stab you to death. It's just like, fuck that shit. That's stupid. I don't know. I think that would be the worst nightmare ever. Like, either getting killed by your spouse or getting killed by your kid. Like, if you had a kid and they just, like, grew up to... Because I think I've read some story on here. Maybe it was, like, a true crime story or something, but it's, it was about, like, some kid who... I don't know. He ended up living with his grandpa or dad or something till he was, like, in his 30s or maybe even 40s or some shit, and ended up killing the dad because, like, the dad would, I think, like, belittle him or something of that nature. And yeah, I don't know. It didn't sound as if though the husband, like, told the cops or anything like that. That's fucking terrifying. That would be such a hard thing to do. Didn't I just read another one about the wife going ape on her husband? I think there was, yeah, like, but, and it's so weird, like, both, not to, you know, put them down or anything, but it's like some sort of psychological effect where both individuals, like, almost like go out of their way to protect their abuser, you know what I mean? Which I guess is common, but it's, I don't know, like, remember the one guy was stabbed and stuff, and then, like, still was very defensive of his wife, and I don't know. I guess it's like there's a degree of denial too, where, shout out from East Coast Canada. What up, Canada? Boards of Canada. Alright, anyways, let us continue onward. For some background, I'm a 20-year-old female. I matched with this guy on Tinder a while back. His name was Nick, and he seemed pretty cool, so I gave him my Snapchat. We talked a little bit, but it died out quickly. I didn't tell him the exact town I lived in, but the city about 10 minutes away because it's decently sized and has a big population of people, and I figured he wouldn't be able to find me by just knowing that bit of information. A few weeks ago, he started messaging me, and we made small talk. Everything seemed normal for a while up until New Year's Eve. The day before, he messaged me, saying he was going to be in the area, the city I told him I was from, and asked if I wanted to meet for lunch. I told him possibly, and I would let him know. The next night, I had a New Year's Eve party with a small group of my friends. I spent most of the day getting ready and was not looking at my phone. Around 7:30, I finally looked at Snapchat and saw that Nick had not only messaged me, but also called me. Hey, I'm in insert name a city here. It's, whoops.
Listen.
Hey, Turbid H2O with the 20 says, so when do we get the 10-hour Squatch talk? I'm looking forward to it. Are you referring to whenever I was going on and on and on about Sasquatch? I thought that was really funny because I was like going on and on and on about Sasquatch, and then some random person joined the stream and was just like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? And I was just thinking about how random that would appear. One of your loved ones used to have hallucinations. It was terrifying trying to rationalize with them and keep them safe during those moments. Yeah, it's terrifying. But Turbid, thank you again for the 20. I appreciate it. I responded to... Oh, yeah. The message read, hey, I'm in insert name a city. I responded by telling him I was sorry I just saw his message. He opened it within minutes and totally freaked out. He said something along the lines of, just to let you know, I'm really not interested in someone who can't even answer the phone when I drove 6 hours just to see her. I looked at it in disbelief, and for a second I thought he was joking. I responded by asking him what he was talking about and that he didn't drive 6 hours just to see me. He said that we had plans, and why else would he have driven up here? I was confused because we never had plans. He told me that he was going to be in the area, which made me think that he was here for work or to visit a friend. It's not uncommon for people to travel for work here. I explained this to him and told him we did not have plans and that I didn't ask him to drive all that way for me. He told me he sat around for 2 hours waiting for me and even brought me flowers. Again, I was confused because we never planned a time or place to meet and had never confirmed plans. You don't make plans by just telling someone you're going to be in the area. I apologized, but told him again that we never had plans. He told me to make it up to him, that I had to drive up and see him tomorrow. Yeah, not happening. I remember that I had my location shared on Snapchat, so he easily could have shown up at my house. I turned off my location, but kept him on Snapchat just in case he tries to show up at my house. And luckily, I've not heard from him since. My dad's a retired police officer and has a gun, and I'm not... Sorry, it's like a let's not me ending, but it's just a funny, like, my dad has a gun, and I'm not... Like, they show up to your house and say, hold on, let me go get my dad, and for him to get a gun. Luckily, I've not heard from him since. Brenda with the 5. Boss. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, thank you. Your uncle talks to 3 angels. What is... Yeah, what is... Are they... Do you ever, like, kind of take in what he's saying or anything like that? Or is it just... I don't know.
Hey, listen.
What have you rolled up on? Nesbit, yeah, basically I just, I make scary reading videos on my channel, narrations, and the live stream aspect is just me interacting with chat and kind of recording my stories as I go along. Meredith, we got 10 stories tonight, by the way. This is going to be story number 3. Does that say Ileana? Ileana De La Rosa. Oh, another De La Rosa with the 2 says, hi, Joel, love your stories. Thank you. Another De La Rosa in the chat. Tea with lemon and honey will help with the throat tickle. I think it's more just like, you know, I'm just talking too dang much. I mean, I actually don't have, like, technically a throat tickle anymore. It's just, it's dry down here. And I actually did get a humidifier, but I have it up in my room. It's kind of funny because I, like, ran out of, like, water. But then I like opened it up and all it just like scared me because it was just like creating mist out of like whatever stuff was like still bubbling in there, so it just like looked like a witch's cauldron. It sort of spooked me. She used to attack the cops with jars of her own waste. Oh god. Oh my god, yeah, being a cop would, or like a first responder kind of thing would fucking be really hard. Humidifier gang. Gang. Oh, the air's kind of dry. This happened back in 2015, and at the time I was 21. Every morning I would wake up early to go for a run. I had developed a routine that was a giant loop. One side of this loop was up the main street of the small Utah town that I was living in at the time. My twin brother would go running at the same time I did, but he would run the loop in the opposite direction that I did. One morning I was running down the main street and was passing this apartment building. In front of the building was a cluster of trees. My view of the tree cluster and the building was obscured by a tall hedge, so I couldn't really see them until I was right in front of the building and past the tall hedge. Out of the corner of my eye, I see a woman standing among the trees and staring at me. A chill runs up my back as I keep my eyes forward as I don't want to be rude and look back at her. It feels as if she is following me as I run past. I keep on running and this creepy encounter slips from my mind. I pass my twin about 2 miles later and finish my run. I get home and my twin isn't back yet, which I find strange because he normally beats me back since he is in better shape than I was at that time. He shows up an hour later and tells me what happened to him. Since the direction he was running in doesn't have a giant hedge to obscure his view, he sees the woman among the trees, only she wasn't standing like I perceived. She is hanging by her neck. As my twin gets closer to the trees and realizes what he's seen, a man comes running out of one of the apartments, wailing. He picks her up and sets her on the ground and lets out wails of mourning. My twin calls the police and stays to give a report. Although I didn't realize what I'd seen out of the corner of my eye that morning until my twin told me, I think back on that and a chill still runs up my back as I remember the stare I saw out of the corner of my eye from a woman who was not alive. I think I actually read this story before, but like a long time ago. Oh, they said that I posted this earlier this year, but since I deleted that account while I figured some things out in my life, now I'm back on Reddit and want to tell this experience again. Now I see. So that was, I think that one was on Let's Not Meet a while ago and stuff, and it's still a really sad story though. Throat coat echinacea tea is a singer's best friend. Okay. Echinacea tea. I actually have some of those Vicks. Well, I don't even have a sore throat. It's just, yeah. Just as I go, I like still sometimes just like cough up shit. And I apologize if it's gross. I mean, I know it's gross, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Hey, David De La Rosa with the 20 big ones says, "Hi Joe, I got my wife hooked to your stories. Thank you." Well, thank you, David. Word of mouth. Now it's a family ordeal.
Hey,
No one on
listen.
Tinder likes me and my ugly Joel. No, of course not. But if your profile has terroristic style demands, or where it specifically says, swipe right or swipe left if, and all of these very particular types of things that make you seem kind of scary, I would say maybe change that in the profile and just say the things that you like, because that's probably a lot more approachable. Mysterious Stranger with the 5 says, "How can I PM you to tell you multiple of my creeper encounters as prison guard or as a service member myself?" Well, yeah, you can actually send it to my subreddit, reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial, or if you don't want to use Reddit, you can email me at letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. It should be linked pretty much in every video and at the bottom of this live stream. Also, if you guys enjoy the live streams and want to check out the old ones, what happens is after this live stream finishes processing, I make it unlisted and then put it on a playlist called live streams, so you'll be able to find all of the old ones, I think starting from newest, going backwards. Thank you, Frybot. You can't stand dating sites. Yeah, me neither, dude. I haven't really been on a date in some long ass time, bro. Yeah, and Tinder's not a good. What about Hinge? I've never tried Hinge. People's I hear better stuff about that. I don't know. MySpace. My bio is very chill. Some of the bios I see are horrendous. I literally don't care if you can outsmoke me. Yeah, that's a weird thing, I feel like. I've seen girls' profiles say that, but yeah, like, that's a weird thing. I can outsmoke you. I don't know. Just like saying, like, hey, potential person I meet, I can get way higher than you and not be able to speak. I feel like all the apps are the same. I don't know. I've heard good things about Hinge, like it attracts a different sort of thing. Do I follow ARGs? I don't. I've seen some in the past, and they are cool concepts, you know. I just don't really, I don't know. I feel like I don't really I feel like I don't like anything, you know what I mean? Like, in the conventional sense of consuming content, especially here on YouTube. I just don't really care all that much for some reason. You're on Tinder less than 24 hours, talk to one person. We are married now in 4 years. Wow, that's hilarious. Well, you're one of the fucking, I don't even know, 99.9% percentile. Or I guess one of the 0.01%. Get my own personal skull NFT. I've people talked about NFTs before. I really don't understand them at all. I just don't understand how they hold the value that they do. Like, I just don't get it. What if somebody screenshots it? No, that's like the old joke or whatever. But I just don't. I mean, if somebody like sends me, if someone could tag me in like a YouTube video or something on social media, like of like an actual good explanation, I just like haven't come across any of them that like are actually good or well explained. Who's a doctor? Definitely not me. Everyone says they met their boyfriend on Tinder, literally went, when is my turn to be happy? I don't know. I think it's better to just try to focus on yourself during this period of time, you know what I mean? Like, just find what makes you happy. Like, exercising is always a good thing to make you feel good. Like, I literally don't think I know anybody who gets done with like a long cardiovascular exercise, like a jog or something of that nature, and doesn't at least feel like they're in a degree of a better place. You know what I mean? So exercise is good. I mean, creating things is fun. You know, doing fun shit with your friends. There's really no issue with just focusing on yourself for a period of time. Hey, listen. Single for 10 years, yeah. Basically a digital art piece that's unique, I think. I mean, I'm kind of aware of the general concept, but I just don't. I think that there's so much more to it that I just can't comprehend. I just can't comprehend that, and I don't exist within that circle of knowledge, so you know what I mean. You saw this thing on Twitter talking about how big YouTubers like Markiplier and others are getting minted into NFTs. Really dumb. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand the ins and outs. I know the words, you know what I mean? Like, I know some of these words and, you know, that kind of thing, but I have no fucking clue. Married nearly 17 years. Congratulations. That's awesome. That's nice, though. I love when people are, like, happily married. Like, that shit's nice to see. All the value surrounding NFTs is more than anything ever, just everyone agreeing to pretend there's monetary value. But like, I just don't get it. Like, at what point does it just become $100,000 worth and you can just, and who's like, what wealthy person, because it's got to be a very wealthy person to purchase, you know, a silly picture, you know what I mean, and just sees like a silly photo of a monkey and is like, I will spend 100,000 on this, you know, like, who is that person and why are they that person, and what's, I don't know, dude. It's confusing as shit. Too old for the slangs. What slangs? I know some of those cool hip happening words. You follow this fitness YouTuber, and YouTube gifted her and her husband. YouTube did? They gifted an NFT, and it's just like a swirly drawing. Yeah, I've no. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, but the weird thing is like, I'm sure people didn't understand like the internet or all these other random bullshit things. I'm sure people didn't understand like you know, Bitcoin at all, but that shit fucking takes off. Wasting money on something virtual like Neopets. Yeah, that's where you should really put your money. Well, no, it's a good point. Pretending there's monetary value is similar to paper money. Yeah, that's the thing, is like, it's monetary value is all based on people's like faith in something. So like, if there's faith that the monkey picture is worth $100,000 and it works, but that's the thing, is like, all of us are very familiar with like getting money in our bank account and then going and buying, you know, chicky nuggies with it. You know what I mean? Like, what does NFT mean? NFT just means non-fungible tokens. So it's supposed to indicate some degree of like, independent value. You know what I mean? Like, specific to that thing, like it's non-fun. But at the same time, that's all I know. Like, I don't know shit. So even me talking about it makes no sense. What's my favorite video of my own? I like my Bigfoot video. I don't know if you guys remember that. I did like a video about Bigfoot. That one was fucking sweet. It's like one of my more popular ones too. You miss Neopets? Yeah, same here. Neopets was the shit back in the day. Okay. I live alone in the... Oh, wait. Woke up with some... Oh, okay. That's funny. The other story was Utah, so I got confused here. What's fungible? I think, like... Well, let me just look it up. Fungible definition. So, fungible definition, it's an adjective, and it means returnable or negotiable in kind or by substitution as a quantity of grain for an equal amount of the same kind of grain. So like, if it's non-fungible, it means it's non-returnable, non-negotiable. There's no way to substitute something else for it. And usually that just works through, I think, like, at least within crypto, it's like the blockchain sort of technology where everyone's running calculations so they're able to understand what, I don't know, where a particular item or the token, I guess, exists within that blockchain communication. But, you know, once again, I don't fucking know anything. Have I heard of the Bridgewater Triangle? I have heard of that. I actually feel like I've heard of that recently. I almost feel like I covered that at some point, but I also sort of forget. Liskish, peace out. Plugging in your headset before I sleep to listen to stories that relax me so much. Thanks. Right now, yeah, no problem. Okay, anyways. I live alone in an apartment in Utah. My area is fairly metropolitan, and it's not uncommon to see unhoused people near my building. Since I'm a single woman, about 20 years old, I'm usually more cautious about locking doors and setting alarms than my friends with roommates. I have a Simply Safe alarm system and also 2 deadbolt locks on my door. Because my area has lots of break-ins, I'm also sure to always lock everything no matter what. 2 nights ago, I came home late from a night out with friends, but I was sober. I made sure to lock everything and set alarms like usual. When I woke up the next morning, I heard somebody in the house. They were wearing shoes and just walking around. One of my friends has the code to my alarm, but none of my friends have a key. I'm the only person I know of with the key to the second deadbolt on my door, and not even my landlord has one. Wait, that sounded weird. I am the only person I know of with the key to the second deadbolt on my door, not even my landlord. I lean my head onto the... out the door. Just in case, with the $5 Reno says this is all I got today. I was just wondering when you were going to read more mafia stories. Also, I gotta ask, is a hot dog a sandwich? Mafia stories? I don't know. You guys gotta go join, gotta go start a new 5 families and
Listen.
get some content for me. You love Neopets? I was obsessed. Then they blocked my account. Oh my god. I lean my head out the door of my bedroom, which is just a few feet from the more open living room kitchen area where the sound was coming from. There was a man in my kitchen. He was about 6 feet tall and maybe 40 years old. He was wearing a full suit and tie, but seemed really tired or drunk. He was standing by my fridge eating leftovers out of Tupperware and just kind of staring. I ducked back into my room and called 911. For the next 10 minutes, I stood by my bedroom door and listened to this man eat a bunch of food from my fridge. When he was done with something, he would just drop the container. That's kind of funny. When he was done with something, he would just drop the container to the floor. When the police showed up, both deadbolts were still locked. They knocked on the door and the man in my apartment answered. The police rushed him and yelled if I was okay. When I came out of the bedroom, they had the man pinned to the floor and I saw that he had rearranged the furniture in my living room. There were containers all over my floor. The man wasn't saying anything, and he never said anything even when the police were asking him questions. After they took him away, the officer told me that the man had business cards in his wallet and he works at a bank downtown. The weirdest thing is that my alarm was set and my deadbolts were locked from the inside, even when he was in my apartment. None of the windows were unlocked, and I'm on the 4th floor, or open either. I have no idea how he got in. Update. I apologize for the delay in reporting back. I've been in a back and forth correspondence with the lead investigator, and we were finally able to talk Thursday about exactly what happened concerning the man who broke in, who I'll call Jake for the sake of clarity. On Tuesday of this week, the lead investigator of my case, Nelson, emailed me with this message, among other things. Don't let anybody wearing a hard hat into your apartment. I called him and asked if I could meet with him. He said that he was busy with several cases and could only be able to meet on Thursday of this past week. We emailed back and forth late into Tuesday night and into Wednesday. I would email him back immediately, but it would sometimes take a few hours for him to respond. In one of his follow-up emails, he told me the man who had gotten into my house never worked at the bank in town, and they had tracked the business cards to another person entirely. Additionally, the man who broke into my house is unable to speak. On Wednesday night, all the tenants in my building received a message that light construction work would be ongoing for the next few days to repair wiring and plumbing. I told my landlord in a message back that an investigator into my case has requested for me to deny access to any person wearing a hard hat into my apartment. My landlord told me that there would be no reason for the construction crew to enter my apartment, as all the work that they were doing was in community access breaker boxes and the basement beneath the building. A few hours later, I got a knock on my front door. It was around 10:15 p.m. When I looked through the peephole, there was a man in a denim jumpsuit standing outside my door. He wasn't wearing a hard hat, but he had a tool belt and appeared to be some kind of construction worker. I asked him what he needed, and he said he needed to check the pipes in my bathroom. I asked him why he needed to be doing that at 10:15 p.m., and he said that they were trying to get all the rooms while the water was on. Your stepdad's obsessed with gnomes? Does he think they're real? Hey, thanks, Brittany. Gnomes aren't evil, they protect you. You know what's really weird? You ever, like, what's her name? I don't know. She was on Joe Rogan, and they were talking about their, like, DMT trips and shit. And, like, they were very, very convinced, like, spiritually, that, like, whenever they took DMT and shit, that these, like, gnomes that, like, exist outside of time and shit, like, I don't know, that everybody has an experience with. I just thought it was really weird, because they were talking about, like, all consistently having these experiences with these gnome-like, jester-type beings, you know what I mean? It was just very strange. Unicorn, thanks. Yeah, I do feel, I feel much better now. My cough scared you. I'm in your room. So do gremlins. Maybe. You trust them to protect your yard and make cookies in your tree. You tell me to do your laundry. I don't want to get up. Come on, Jessica. I need that laundry done yesterday. It's gathering mold. Joe Rogan imitating a bison. No, I haven't seen that. I think I've I don't know, I think I've seen people, maybe they've used that clip where they mix it with, like, chimpanzees, where he talks about chimpanzees. That shit's pretty fucking funny. I just love all the mixes, or, like, the sort of mixes that they do of him with monkeys. Just funny as shit. I asked him why he needed to be doing that at 10:15 p.m., and he said they were trying to get to all the rooms while the water was already turned off. I asked him if he could contact my landlord on speakerphone, so I knew he was legitimate, and instead of complying, he grew angry and told me he was just doing his job. I told him he wasn't allowed to come into my apartment and I wouldn't be opening it for him. I then stepped back into my bedroom and phoned Nelson, my investigator. He didn't respond, but I left him a message. I then called 911 and informed them of my situation, asking if they could come by and check on the workers. The dispatcher told me she would send somebody to my building. I then called my landlord and told her somebody was trying to get into my apartment in a construction outfit, and she told me they left several hours before. I went back to the door and looked through the peephole, and of course he was gone. When the police showed up about 20 minutes later, they couldn't find the man anywhere in the building. However, in the video of our entrance near the mailboxes, the man was seen entering the building at around 10 p.m. Early the next morning, Thursday, Nelson called me and asked if I could meet him at the police station. When I got there, Nelson walked me back to his office. He had an iPad on his desk and a plastic 3-ring binder like I used to use in school. I kinda hoped for a classic manila folder, but oh well. He opened the binder and flipped through some pages before settling and looking at me. Nelson then told me the man who got into my apartment was named Jake, and that he's unable to speak but fluent in ASL. He can hear perfectly fine, and he typically carries a notebook with him to write in for those who can't sign. Nelson then told me how Jake Nelson would not give the real name of the man, got into my apartment and what the deal with the construction worker was. Jake went missing in mid-December. He works for the Nevada Department of Transportation. Until December of last year, Jake was a fairly respected family man. In his teens, he had been addicted to drugs, but he had kicked the habit and started working for the DOT. In the next couple of decades, Jake got married, had a child, and lived fairly comfortably. However, he had relapsed in December for unknown reasons, and soon after, he had disappeared. There were videos of him acting strangely at gas stations where he had used his credit card in the days after his disappearance, but then he stopped using his card after that. There's a 2-week period where they're not sure what happened with Jake. The next time Jake showed up, it was in Utah, where I live, and he was cited for a minor vehicle infraction. The next time they saw Jake, it was in my apartment. After they took him to the station, they had a long conversation with him where they would talk, he would write, and they would talk again. Jake failed to make sense to the investigators. He wrote about being hungry and not being able to sleep, and when they asked him how he got into my apartment, he would write about how he didn't need any help. Eventually, Nelson was able to get the story from Jake. During his few weeks in Utah, Jake had started going to the bars and meeting some blue-collar workers in the area. He got onto a road construction job from his past DOT experience and met another drug addict named Patrick, not his real name either. He and Patrick both used hard drugs. Patrick had been known to get into apartments by posing as a construction worker, and he had sold stolen goods from apartments to pay for his habit. The night Jake got into my apartment, he was wearing a suit, and his method of breaking in was to look nice enough for somebody to just let him in through the entrance. After that, he would enter any unlocked apartment, step out of their window, and come in through a neighbor's window. Apparently, one of my windows had a broken latch, and it cannot be properly locked. I also don't have sensors on my windows, so that explains why the alarm never went off. When Jake entered my apartment, he had already been there. Shit.
Hey, listen.
Geeky thingy with the 1. Thank you, Geeky. Toe Jam reveal. Toe Jam and Earl reveal. When Jake entered my apartment, he had already been to several other apartments. He was high while he was doing this, and he was hungry from several hours of sneaking around, so he went into my fridge and started eating. As Nelson understands it, Jake became drunk by just going through my fridge and eating and drinking. He also said the original owner of the business card lives in my building, and Jake had stolen the business card from the entrance of the man's apartment. Nelson said Patrick would likely try to hit the same apartment as Jake at some point, so it didn't surprise him that Patrick showed up at my apartment not long after Jake did. Nelson said that he would be contacting me eventually for the trial, and that it might be a good idea to intensify security in my apartment until they caught Patrick.
No, this is Patrick. This is Patrick.
Nelson said that he would be contacting me eventually for the trial, and that it might be a good idea to intensify security in my apartment until they catch Patrick.
Hello?
Nipple length reveal. Just bursting through the seams. You got COVID and couldn't do anything for months. Seriously, if it's that, take it easy. Oh, yikes, yeah. So, yeah, some people get hit real fucking hard with COVID. It sucks. Seems like a lot of people haven't. Or at least the newer one. Hey, Hanny.
Patrick is sus. No, SpongeBob, I'm not sus.
Hey, listen.
Deborah with the 150. Thank you. And a rose. Thank you.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
Is this the Krusty Krab? I forget who actually calls him during that episode. No, this is Patrick. Is new SpongeBob any good? I feel like I watched like a really, really newer episode of SpongeBob, and it just seemed like it had a completely different vibe to it, like a completely different creative direction as far as like just the chaos that was happening in the episode. I don't know, it seemed very just all over the place, but like way worse than normal. What's my best impersonation? I don't really have any good ones. You just had to ask me something. Oh, Hank Hill. God dang it, Bobby. God dang it. Butterfree. Butterfree. I choose you. The new SpongeBob very much so is a lot worse. Okay. Pre-2005 SpongeBob for the win. Yeah, I could imagine that'd probably be a good cutoff. Don't watch any SpongeBob after the year 2005. They ruined SpongeBob. SpongeBob, me boy. SpongeBob. No. SpongeBob. SpongeBob. Oh, SpongeBob, me boy. No, I can't do that one. SpongeBob, me boy. SpongeBob, me boy. Money, money, SpongeBob, me boy. I just can't hit it. Money, 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 SpongeBob. I don't know. Your favorite episode of SpongeBob is called Hooky. Jim Jarmusch is in it. Interesting. Goku? Oh God. What it? Chi-Chi. No, I can't do Goku. I gotta hear Goku's voice. Kame. Let's see. I feel like it sounds more like Krillin. Jeez, Gohan. Wow. Wait, Goku. Let me just Goku voice. What a weirdo. I don't know. I'm not really sure. This should be a good fight. I kind of feel like... Do you remember Sonic the Hedgehog from Super Smash Brothers? I feel like the voice sounds so much like Goku. And the weirdest thing is in... I think it was Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Sonic's like superpower is like turning into a Super Saiyan like style person. This is a good Krillin killing or Korin. Krillin, hey! Oh wait, okay, let's see. I'm gonna do Krillin. Let me see if I can do Krillin voice. Hey, Android 19 or 18. Wait, not. Wait a second. I better think this over before Goku. Goku. Can't even believe I can't even defend myself. I don't know. Can I do the VG? Kakarot. Kakarot, it's over 9,000. Kakarot. Do it, Kakarot! Enter into the domain of the gods! Do it, Kakarot! Who ordered the poo-poo platter? Goku, who ordered the poo-poo platter? That one's actually kind of good. Or at least it feels good. I don't know what it sounds like, to be honest. Mr. Sins. Oh no, it's Johnny Sins! Johnny Sins sounds like a person that would be in the, what was it, remember on Namek, the something squad, the Dota squad? Let's see, Dragon Ball Z squad. The Ginyu Force, yeah. Oh, it's Johnny Sins. He's part of the Ginyu Force. Keep practicing. Unhinged. I'm nuts. Anime SpongeBob is fire. Oh, Dokosoko. Can you do a corpse husband? Yeah, I think. Well. Oh, fuck. Yeah, you don't really. Oh, fuck. You wouldn't even believe the kind of day that I had today. Hey, guys. How's it going? I just got fucking fucked by this son of a bitch who cut me off. No. I can't really do it. Space Australian. I crack myself up, yeah, sometimes. Oh my god! It's Corpse Husband! Prepare for trouble. And make it double. I actually want to look up the Team Rocket monologue. I can oh, fuck. Prepare for trouble and make it double to protect the world from devastation. To unite all peoples within our nation. To denounce the evils of truth and love. To extend our reach to the stars above. Corpse. Krillin. Team Rocket blast off at the speed of light. Surrender now or prepare to fight. Robin says, poo poo pee pee, trigger squeezy. Can you go tickle Robin for me right now? Could you just tickle him till he shits himself? I would love to know that happened. You've been an astronaut, a doctor, priest, teacher, yoga teacher, teacher and yoga teacher, but I've never been Goku. This is unacceptable. Is that a sphinxter squeeze? Oh yeah, you could hear it. All right. Anyways, always remember to close your blinds. Is that what we're on? Yeah. Make it double. For a bit of context, I'm a single female in my 30s and live alone, apart from my pets. I'm on my own when it comes to my safety, is what I'm trying to say. So this happened last summer. It was around 11 p.m. and I was sitting at my dining table, typing away on my final paper of the semester. Behind me sits my kitchen and a big window that overlooks my backyard. This backyard was surrounded completely by a 6-foot vinyl privacy fence. And inside that fence was a little garden I'd been working hard on. Lots of cute flowers and a little pond. I was proud of it and would leave the blinds open so I could take in all my hard work during the day. I was caught up in my paper that was due by midnight, and since it was late, the dogs were snoozing away nearby. My concentration was broken by a very sudden, very loud, and very deliberate tap, 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 tap behind me. I froze completely, and it dawned on me I'd never closed my blinds. All my interior lights were on, and we know how that works. Whoever was tapping could see me perfectly. Weirdly and inconveniently enough, my dogs who normally bark at the slightest noise were still sound asleep. It took me about 5 minutes to muster the slightest ounce of courage just to turn my head, just enough to see the window in my periphery, only to hear a loud crunch and another couple of taps just a bit later. Fuck. Oh. Meredith with the 2 says that just made me lol best duo. Thank you. Thank you, Meredith. Gracioso. Been having art block and honestly just had the urge to draw Krillin and Corpse in the Team Rocket outfits posing. Oh, that would be fucking beautiful. You should, if you do, please tag me on social media. If Corpse and Krillin are Jesse and James, then who's Meowth? Meowth. That's right. Hmm. Who would be Meowth? Who do you guys want to be? Who would you guys like as Meowth?
Listen here, bozo. Meowth. That's right. Fucking Meowth, bitch. I'll fucking slice you up.
I always imagine Meowth as a little bit violent, you know.
Come here. Motherfucker, put me in a fucking Pokeball? You swear to God?
Alright, Bagel, have fun. Be safe. And Jensen could be Meowth. Jensen? Meowth? That's right. I guess... Do I have any piercings? Just a Prince Charles. It took me about 5 minutes to muster up the slightest ounce of courage to turn my head just enough to see the window on my periphery, only to hear a loud crunch and another couple of taps, just a little lighter. Nope. No need to look. The last thing I needed was to see a face pressed up against that window. To my left was a door to the carport which led to the backyard. The handle was within arm's reach, and I wouldn't have to look at the window to open it. I called to my dogs, and they jumped up as soon as I turned the knob. I guess the watcher realized what I did. About 30 seconds passed, and I heard a couple of more crunches, then a very loud... Fuck. What's a Prince Charles? Don't ask me. You always leave a little bread and honey next to your fairy door in the spring. Does everyone have a fairy door? Shannon, what's poppin'? Oh, okay, Robin, diarrhea, but not because of tickling. He just didn't want to disappoint. Oh, he actually feels he's not ticklish at all. He's just like, well, gotta let this out for him. Gotta do it for the stream. Jeez. I don't know, Rick. I think I gotta shit myself. Prince Albert. Oh, not a Prince Charles. Okay. Sorry, I mix them up sometimes. Not everyone has a fairy door. I thought that was just, about as normal as having a doorbell. Excuse me. That wasn't me. That was my fairy. I guess the watcher realized what I did. Okay. You get a whole fairy village in your garden. That's cool. Do it Mickey Mouse.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Jesus Christ.
Oh boy. Did you hear Disney? Disney just bought out Blizzard and Activision.
Nah, I can't really do them. Oh. I remember there was somebody I knew that could really do it.
Oh boy.
Fuck it. I can't get that high. I can't even. You know what? Let me look it up real quick. Mickey Mouse voice.
Hurry up, Donald. Oh my god.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't even know. I don't know if I would want to do a voice that high. I feel like it's very strenuous.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Fuck it. I don't really care. Mickey Mouse and Pennywise. I know, yeah. It's like sometimes I can how your voice sounds a little bit different to you when you listen to yourself. But there are times where I try to do an impression where I can just feel like it feels at least 80% correct. You know what I mean? And I would say that Mickey Mouse one was 20% or something. It just didn't feel good. Do Cartman.
But ma'am. Fuck you, Kyle. Fuck you guys. I'm going home.
What about Blippi's voice? Who's Blippy? Let's see. Blippy voice. Steve. I don't know who Blippy is. And I don't... Is it like Dad Dare? Is it on a Dad Dare channel? Learn the alphabet with Blippi? Educational videos for kids? Is that who you're talking about? Do not do Blippi, do not. Jesus, dude. Some of these fucking, like this Blippi channel, educational videos for kids. 14.7. Oh, God. I can hear his voice.
Hey, it's me, Blippi.
Shut up. That's crazy, though. They get so many fucking views. I remember there was, like, a big change for, like, YouTube videos and, like, kids content and stuff where, like, they couldn't do targeted advertising and stuff. And I wonder if, like, those... I mean, granted, their channel's still fucking huge, but I wonder if they took, like, a huge hit on that shit. Your daughter loves Blippi, oh.
Hey, it's me, Blippi. Fucking shit, bro. We're gonna learn the fucking alphabet.
Okay, sorry. I guess the watcher realized what I did. About 30 seconds passed and I heard a couple of more crunches, then a very loud thud. If you've ever heard a vinyl fence being smacked against, it's a bit distinctive, and I knew they jumped it. My dogs finally went nuts and ran to the window near the thud. Lights off and blinds closed there, thankfully. I caught a quick glimpse of a leg disappearing behind the corner of my neighbor's house. I stayed up until dawn with my metal baseball bat and one of those giant sharp grill forks. With the fence and dogs, I always felt safe. How they got back there so quietly, I'll never know. I lived there my whole life and never had anything like this happen to me. I was pretty shaken. Whoever that was wanted me to know that they were there, and definitely wanted my attention. Your son loves Siren Head. Siren Head, Siren Head. Sorry. Hope that doesn't blow anybody's ears out when I cough. How many stories you missed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 5 more to go here. Joel for Blues Clues. That would be like, I don't know, to be fucking Bill from Blues Clues or whatever his name is, like, oh man, dude, that would be a lot of pressure, I feel like, as a human being. Like, you would just have to, like, not... Or Steve. What was his name? Steve? And then they had another guy after that, but I don't remember him at all. He was clearly much younger. But, like, remember Steve? Like, granted, he kind of existed during an era where, like, social media wasn't really a thing. So, like, if he went out and got, like, wasted at a club, getting wasted at the club, looking for clues, you know, like, back then, nobody would be able to, like, oust him as being insane or something like that, you know. But nowadays, I feel like if you were Steve from Blues Clues, people would be fucking watching you like a hawk. This is the guy from Grandma's Boy? I don't know. I don't think so. Or what do you... Oh, like, whenever I do... Because sometimes I do... Sometimes I like that, yeah, Nick Swardson voice. I do like a bit of a Nick Swardson thing sometimes. Steve was a cokehead. Oh, perfect. All right, so there's not much to live up to. I'll try out for Steve. Sup? We gotta find some fucking clues. Fucking Blue, like, fucking hit him everywhere, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna get high in the corner. Let Blue do all the work. I think most of this is a hallucination, anyways. Oh, he had... Oh, is that why he left? He was addicted to coke? Yikes. My bad. All right, well. I guess he wasn't all that great. I just did a little cocaine. I just did a little cocaine. I just did a little cocaine right up my nose. I didn't, actually. Let me just clarify. Or I should voice Save voices, Elmo. Steve married the big comfy couch. Well, man. Hey, Blue, I think I'm just gonna chill here for the episode. Or, I mean, the day. Steve kind of... Wait.
Haha, Pee Wee Herman.
Wait. What does Pee Wee sound like?
Haha, haha.
Yeah, Pee Wee is a bit weird. He apologized, went to college, and came back and apologized dressed as Steve and everything. Whatever, man. I mean, I think everybody in Hollywood's probably on some shit. He had a music career for a bit. That's cool. I know, anybody who's been on Nickelodeon just like comes out like or Disney just comes out fucked up. Not always, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. Something bad be going on down there. Do I smoke the devil's lettuce? I don't, no. Fuck me. I sound like Kermit. Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy. Oh, Kermit. Okay. I must re-lubricate my lips and get back to reading these spooky stories. Spooky stories to shit to. To scare the shit out of you. That'd be a good video title, I guess. Like, spooky stories for constipation. It kind of implies, like, scaring the shit out of you, you know what I mean? Hillary Duff had no controversy. Now that's true. I don't really remember Miss Duff going through any shit. I guess maybe her parents kept her away from the bad actors. Alright. In July of 2014, I got a job at a meat shop in a grocery store. I had no experience at all, but they hired me because they were desperate for help, and I took it because I was desperate for a job. I didn't care what kind of job I had to work or how hard it was because my wife was pregnant and the baby was due in October. I probably would have never even thought to apply for the meat department, but my sister-in-law worked in the office and told me to apply. The next day I got a call to come in for an interview and a drug test. I did and was hired that day. The person from corporate, we'll call him Carl, started showing me the meat shop and telling me my job duties, etc. While doing so, the meat cutter I've known since high school, who was friends with my older brother, we'll call him Steven, was showing the new manager, Mike. We'll use Mike's real name because I'm leaving a link to the news article which tells his name, and I'm not protecting this creep, how to clean the saw, etc. I started the next day and everything went okay. It was all of us in the shop, including Carl. He was only there to help us out until I got the hang of my job, and Mike got the hang of his. Mike said he had experience, which he did work in meat shops before, but he was really awful at his job. His cuts of meat were unidentifiable, and he did anything he could to get out early. He didn't get real bad. Oops. Fraggle Rock. Dude, I used to love Fraggle Rock, but like, you know, like there was like those shows as a kid that you couldn't quite identify their name because you're an idiot. And like, I just, I don't know. There was something about Fraggle Rock that I just remember I loved, as far as just an aesthetic. And as a kid, I just like wanted to like live down in that murky cave for whatever reason because it seemed nice, and I like the color palette. But it was weird. It was like I never seemed to catch Fraggle Rock when it was on TV. I just like sort of would catch it at the end or something. But for whatever reason, as a kid, I got to see like every episode of like SNL, like right when it started. I remember that was like, you know, like when you thought you had like magic powers as a kid because of something really obscure would happen. Well, one of the obscure things that would happen for me is I felt like every time I turned on Comedy Central or some shit, because I think it was on Comedy Central at the time, I would catch all the old episodes of SNL, like right as they were starting. Almost to the point that I could guess that this was like the opening cold, or the cold opening thing. We're like, it's Saturday night. And not much of a superpower, but it definitely was weird, you know. And I used to watch a lot of those episodes back in the day. Kind of sucks that SNL's trash now, but Crystal P with the $1. Thank you, thank you. Blade, thank you. Appreciate the support. Still like the Muppet Show better. Yeah, I got to see definitely way more of the Muppet stuff. I always loved those like two old men who just like heckled people. That's what I aspired to be. Just be an old Muppet. Sorry. Oh my god, Hannah, what the fuck? You better be able to... You better be a fucking ballerina at this point, or a yogi. Make some salmon. You better catch me some. His cuts of meat were unidentifiable, and he did anything he could to get out early. He didn't get real bad until Carl left after about 2 weeks to take care of other shops. He still popped in every now and then, though, and always checked out the shop on his way home. Anyways, might creep me out just on his looks alone. Also, it didn't help on my first day when it was just me and him near the end of the shift, and to teach me how to put the tenderizer back together after cleaning it, he said, just like... Oh, fuck. It says just like sticking a dick... Shit. Alright. I gotta think of a new word for penis. Just like sticking your wang in... I don't fucking know. You just had salmon? Hell yeah. Oh, my coughs aren't too loud. That's good. We watched Fraggle Rock, Eureka's Castle, Sherry, Lois, and Bram, my Emma, the Bee at our babysitters before real school. Yeah, I used to, like... I went to a babysitter, like... I think it was, like, pre-K and then kindergarten. Actually, for kindergarten, I used to go to, like, a YMCA or some shit for daycare, and that was the shit. And I remember I moved schools from kindergarten to first grade to like more of like a yuppie area, and I remember like it was so stupid. It was like the daycare I went to sucked. The fucking, I don't know, because it was like at the YMCA we could wear hats, we could trade food, we could play video games like our little Game Boy bullshits, and dynamite dongle. But then I went to this new school, and it was just like you couldn't wear hats, you couldn't trade food, you couldn't play your games. Everything was just very like regimented and bullshit. Dude, I remember like kids at the previous school, you could dress up as anything you wanted for Halloween. Like you could, and like I remember this one dude, he literally was nothing. It was just like a murderer. Like he opened up his like big jacket, and the jacket was literally just full of actual weapons, like actual like slicey dice weapons, not like a gun or anything, but like just fucking like meat cleavers and shit that he got from like rusted from his uncle, and he just wore like a scary clown mask and put blood on himself. You know what I mean? Every little boy, you know what I mean, wants to be macabre or whatever the fuck. And I was like a Ninja Turtle or some shit. I remember being real sad about it because it was like a homemade costume from like my mom's friend, and I kind of like had to wear it, but I looked so fucking stupid. Holy shit. But anyways, once they changed schools, it was like going into it was like going from like 1970 where like nobody, like I don't know, like the fifth graders were the chaperones and drivers of the bus or some shit like that, to everybody was wearing like space suits and couldn't touch hands or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know. It was, yeah. Also, it didn't help on my first day when it was just me and him near the end of the shift, and to teach me how to put the tenderizer back together after cleaning it, he said, "It's just like putting your wang in something soft, you know?" Like I said, I thought he was creepy, but I was afraid to say anything because I thought everyone liked him and I didn't want to lose my job. A few times I thought I was going to because he messed up something and would blame me. About 2 weeks in, Stephen was telling me how much he disliked him when we were on our way up front to clock out, and I was relieved and said, "Oh, thank God. I thought I was the only one who thought he was creepy." Stephen then talked about how much Mike sucked at his job as well, and assured me that him and Carl talk every day, and they know I'm not messing up, that it's Mike's doing it. It's Mike's doing it. Which Ninja Turtle? I was Donatello. I like Donatello because I thought he was smart. I thought he was the smartest one. And he had a big stick. These schools didn't really have bullies. Some people were asshats, but nothing crazy, which is kind of funny considering where I'm from. Yeah, I don't, at least growing up, my, experiences with quote-unquote bullies was, if anybody was, most people, if they were an asshat, they were pounced on pretty quick. Things never really escalated to the point that it was, school stuff, you know what I mean? School movie, meme level of, bullying, you know what I mean? It seemed like most of the time. And honestly, I feel like people were pretty comfortable, as young people to, call out individuals for being stupid as well, you know? I remember dealing with a lot of, upperclassmen growing up who were jerks, but if it ever got too bad, I feel like people weren't uncomfortable standing up for themselves or some sort of teacher stepping in. And I remember even thinking that, when I got to high school, I was like, oh God, this is where the real bullying starts or something like that, you know? But most of the time people were normal human beings. Michelle with the 5. Thank you, Michelle. Sometimes I wish Pradeep was the size of an actual panther. That'd be fucking sweet.
Listen.
Yeah, Donatello, let's go. I used to get beat up by bullies a lot because I used to always stick up for the underdog, me being a nerd or loser or whatever, but I would stick up for myself and my buddies even if I meant I got beat up. Yeah, it sucks. It's almost like you need to roll with the gang, I guess. I guess everybody's experience in school was different, but we were pretty fortunate. It was a big school, too. Oh, thank God. I thought I was the only one who thought he was creepy. Stephen then talked about how much Mike sucked at his job, etc., and assured me that him and Carl talk every day and they know I'm not messing up, that it's Mike's doing. A few more weeks pass by, and on days when it's just me and Stephen, he fills me in on the stuff Mike did while I was off. The one that freaked Stephen out was he said he swore he saw Mike staring at a 12 to 13-year-old girl's bottom as she was walking up the aisle. Anytime he would try to tell someone they would say he was bullying Mike or misunderstood something, that kind of stuff. A few weeks later, Stephen, who lives on a farm, fell off of a barn and split his butt open, and he didn't go to a doctor or anything, he just bandaged it up himself and moved on. He was telling this at work only because he had to go on break and change his bandages. When he came back in the room, Mike asked where he put the discarded bandages, and Stephen said, the bathroom trash, with an eyebrow raised, wondering why it was so important. Mike yelled out, "I want to see," and went through the trash with his bare hands to find the bandages. A few days later, Stephen and Mike had to go to a meeting at the store the next town over. They took separate vehicles, of course, but Stephen said Mike was following him everywhere. Stephen kept taking back roads to try to lose Mike so he could change his bandages, but Mike kept following. Once he lost him, he started changing his bandages, and just then, Mike pulled up beside him with a huge grin and rolled his window down and asked, "What are you doing?" Stephen was livid and told Mike, "I'm trying to change my freaking bandages." And I guess started cussing Mike out, and Mike took off. Fast forward about a year later, Mike has been in trouble over and over, and Carl met Mike at the doors before opening and sent him to another store 2 counties away. A place Mike didn't want to go. Me and Steven thinks it's because people knew him there and knew how he was. Mike told Tall Tales was a pervert and was just downright disgusting. Steven became the manager and everything was normal for once, and clean. Carl stopped by the shop one day and informed us that Mike was missing. He went on vacation and never came back. A few days later, Steven texted me on my day off saying, "Look up Mike's name on Google because Carl told him to do the same." And I did. And well, here's the link. We don't know if he's still in jail or what, but I just hope so. What is it? Oh God. Man arrested for traveling to Ohio to meet 14-year-old. Yikes. Wonder if I should put the article link in the actual video, or I could probably just explain it in the... I'll just probably explain it because I feel like it would just... I don't know how YouTube is about like... you know what I mean? Like inconsistent links and weird shit like that. Steven texted me on my day off saying to look up Mike's name on Google because Carl told him to do the same. And I did. And what it turns out is that Mike was caught traveling across state lines to meet up with a 14-year-old. We don't know if he's still in jail or what, but I hope so. That's fucking weird, dude. What the fuck was he doing with the bandages and shit as well? Like, what the, like, digging? I gotta dig through and get these bandages. Scream 5 is way different and better. My fave character is Tara. Yeah, I heard Scream was pretty good. Fuck. This happened several months ago. At the time, I had recently lost my car due to a motor vehicle accident, so I walked for 30 minutes to the store, thinking I'd be able to beat the sunset back, but I was wrong. By the time I was done picking up my groceries, it was pitch black outside. The thing is, I live in a woodsy area where there are not even many sidewalks, so I didn't think it was safe to walk back. I tried getting my brother and cousin to pick me up and drop me off, but they wouldn't have been able to make it for a while, so instead I decided to get a lift. A photo of a suspicious-looking creepy old man popped up as my driver. I waited at the sidewalk for my ride, and maybe like 10 minutes later the driver arrived. It was a silver Toyota sedan, and the driver was an old man wearing a cap and large framed rectangular glasses. Instantly, something felt off about the man's aura, and I tried not to let it bother me too much. After all, my home is literally down the street, I reminded myself. I asked him if I could set my groceries in the trunk of his car, and he nodded. I dropped it in without noticing what was in the trunk of his vehicle because where we were stopped. Whoops. I dropped it without noticing what was in the trunk of his vehicle because where we were stopped, it was pretty dark with no street lamps. I helped myself into the car and told him that I live back there, pointing in the direction from which the vehicle had arrived, and let him know that he was only a 3-minute drive from my home. I saw him nod, or so I thought, and as soon as the light switched to green, he made a right. I thought that he was making the right to turn the vehicle around, but instead, he drove past the main road he was supposed to take to get to my home. I let him know immediately that my home was that way while pointing in the direction, and he acknowledged it but still kept going straight, claiming there was an issue with his GPS, and he started driving us in the complete opposite direction of my home where the roads were completely empty. I suddenly didn't feel safe. I had a terrible feeling in the pit of my stomach, and in that moment of panic I immediately reached for my phone to SOS, assuming the worst, but then I stopped myself and told myself to calm down. Make a U-turn, I tried to tell the driver as calmly as possible. I didn't want him to hear the panic in my voice. He didn't respond. My request to turn around was completely ignored. I couldn't keep calm any longer, so I finally yelled for him to make a right turn and to turn around. He reluctantly complied. And along the way back to the road that took me to my home, it felt like the longest 3 minutes of my life. But just when I thought I'd finally be home safe, the driver then suggested an alternate route even though my home was a simple right and a right via the main road and very, very close by. I immediately felt that something was really wrong. He slowed down next to a woodsy, isolated path along the way, asking if I'd ever been that way before and that we could take this route instead. I froze. Again, I went into panic mode, but forced myself to calm down. Calm down. Pradeep is, he's hiding under his little cat tree. And he normally never goes under there. Oh, now he's back because I looked at him. I'm always thinking like he's gonna bump into my leg, and then my knee's just gonna give out and I'm gonna fall over. That'd be funny. I froze again, but forced myself to calm. Okay, here we go. Calm down. Scream 5, the opening scene and the ending are the best. Oh, perfect. I froze. Again, I went into panic mode, but forced myself to calm down so as not to let it be known that I was suspicious of him. I raised my voice once more, telling him my home was that way while pointing toward the main road, which wasn't very far. He finally obliged after some reluctancy and started driving back toward the main road again. The entire time on the way to my home, my heart was racing and my palms were sweating. We arrived at my complex maybe 5 minutes later, and I spoke to him very nicely so that he doesn't try something funny that would force him to react in such a manner that would put my life in further danger. I told him I'd be tipping him well for such a short drive, which would be $10. I quickly hopped out of the car and jolted to the truck to retrieve my trunk. I quickly hopped out of the car and jolted to the trunk to retrieve my groceries. As I grabbed my bags, I saw something I hadn't noticed before, because this time the street lamps surrounding my complex illuminated the trunk of his car. I froze as I grabbed my groceries, as in the trunk of his vehicle was a rope and a mallet and a bag filled with some contents. I began trembling from fear. I ran up to my building so fast and checked outside my window as soon as I got up to my apartment to make sure he wasn't still lurking and watching. But thankfully I never had to hear or see from this old man again. My guess was that he had some evil, twisted intentions from which I miraculously escaped because, for whatever reason, he decided to change his mind about those intentions he had for me that night. To this day, I can only guess as to what his intentions were, but judging by the items I found in the trunk of his vehicle, it's not something I would have ever had wished to find out. I was so glad I trusted my instincts that day. Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, I like Silence of the Lambs. It's like definitely up there with tippity top psychological thrillers. I actually really like those movies. I don't know. I feel like there aren't enough like detective style movies where like, I don't know, you keep finding out something crazy. I would say there's really, I don't know, is there really any better like psychological thriller detective style movie better than Silence of the Lambs? I'm not really sure. I need to see Scream 5. You know, I haven't seen 1 through 4, so will I need to see those? Are you doing SCP videos? I don't have any plans to currently. Oh, the Zodiac. Yeah, that one was pretty fucked up. I like turtles. Oh yeah, I just took a Epsom salt bath yesterday. Those are pretty freaking nice. But when I first put them into the bath, you come in and it kind of like lingers in the air and sort of burns my eyes a little bit. Anxiety-riddled hermit. Damn. What do you guys think? Is like what are some of the best ways to get rid of anxiety? What colors did I use for school subjects? Yeah, I did find that funny. I've seen like memes where I don't know, like everybody for science would use green or some shit. And I do remember green, I think, being science, or I think blue was math for me, and like orange or red or some shit was like social studies. Do I like Girl Scout cookies? Your daughter is selling them. Nice, that's cool. Is it that time of the year already? People are selling Scout, or is like Scout cookie selling like just something that goes on all the time? It definitely shouldn't burn your eyes. I don't know. I think my eyes are kind of sensitive. Like they're like similar to like onions. Maybe it's because I put an onion in there as well, you know, in my soup, my little soupy soup that I was swimming in. Just smoking some bath salts and an onion. David with the 2 says the movie 7 is awesome. Oh, okay, I've never heard of that one. Check that out. Chewing gum lessens anxiety. Okay, that's a good idea. Nom, nom, nom. I remember there was this one girl in high school back in the day. She was great, but it was just so funny because she had like a particular tendency where like she would chew gum constantly, just chewing, just gnawing on gum nonstop. Anytime you see her, gum. And I always knew to get some from her, and that's kind of, I didn't really make the connection at the time, but I just knew she had gum. But I remember like she would literally like take out one and like have another one like prepped and ready to fucking rock and roll, you know, just like Indiana Jones, like taking out the prize and putting in a fucking stone, you know. And I don't think she ever got crushed by a rock or anything, but she was really good with it. And I don't know, she did not miss a beat with you know, it was just, she probably chewed it while she was asleep too. Didn't even get in her hair at all. Oh, the what's in the box, is that what 7 is? Okay, interesting. Archive 81 on Netflix. 7 is up there with Silence of the Lambs. Okay, that's with Bradley Pitt, right? Oh yeah, I got this weird fucking thing. It's like a salt inhaler. You guys ever see this? It's just like a little ceramic inhaler, but you put like you put like Himalayan pink salt at the bottom, and then you just take inhales. You can kind of taste the salt, but apparently the salt, it's just some hippy dippy bullshit, but apparently the salt's supposed to like interact with the bacteria or whatever in your lungs and like kill off any sort of mold or whatever that might be creating mucus in your shit. Not in your shit, but your lungs. Along Came a Spider was a good one. Solway Firth? What's Solway Firth? What is it? Anyone saw the MJ impersonation fight some random green collar dude at a pub? No. I don't know what that is. I'm vaping. Yeah, I'm vaping salt. Salt be like, hi, bacteria. Hi, bacteria. How you doing? I got moldy lungs. I might, dude. That might be... Who knows? I'm down here in some dank area, hidden away from everyone. They might be just riddled with fucking creepy crawlies. Just got fucking COVID everywhere in the walls. Yeah, I got a salt inhaler from a dude back at 7-Eleven. I need light it on the bottom now. Oh, you need to light. Oh, it needs a light. Kind of like the... You can hear it. Can you hear it? Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight. Are they actually? Is Jake Paul actually fighting Mike Tyson? Also, why the fuck doesn't he fight someone that's not retired, for Christ's sake? It's fucking stupid. Like, I get that he's like really good at like bringing together a bunch of people to watch his stupid shit and make money off of it, but like, you know, it would be nice if he actually took himself seriously as a fighter. He fought like somebody his own age or someone within his own weight class that's not fucking 65. It's dry in your basement, you don't have moldy lungs. Yeah, it's true. But I might have moldy lungs too. You don't know. There's a combination of the two. Because Jake will die if he boxes the boxer. I mean, I guess I don't give a shit. You can do whatever you want, and if he makes money off it, congrats. But, dude, I have like a secret hope in my heart of hearts that Mike Tyson just like pulls out his like 20-year-old self and just absolutely fucking gives Jake Paul dementia with one punch. Unicorn, have you seen Mindhunter? It's up there with Silence. I don't think I've seen Mindhunter. That doesn't even really ring a bell. Jake trolls people so he knows people by watching horrid matchups. Well, I also heard that like some of the fights are rigged as well, which is kind of sad. Like, what was the one guy he fought? Floyd Mayweather. He fought Floyd Mayweather. And there was like a time I saw like where Floyd accidentally knocked him out, and then as he was going down, like Floyd like caught him or some shit and like wouldn't let him fall, and then he kind of like gained consciousness again, and I'm like, okay, that's bullshit. That seems like baloney majoni. You should fight Mike Tyson with your scary stories in SCP. I'll bring the power of God and anime down upon him. Mike Tyson, would you like to fight me? Oh, jeez. I don't know if I can take on all those scary monsters. That sounds a bit terrifying to me. But if I have to knock him out, I guess like I have to knock him out. If I see like a cryptid, or maybe like a skinwalker, I'm gonna have to do what I have to do, and I gotta catch him in my Ghostbusters little box. I'm gonna pull him in. I'm gonna join Ghostbusters. What?
What the hell did you just say, Mike Tyson? That was fucking cool as shit. The coolest crossover I've ever heard in my life. What do you think about fighting Jake Paul?
Well, I think that Jake Paul's kind of like a little bitch, and I'm gonna bite his fucking face off. I hope that's fine with him, though, because I'm a little bit hungry. He's a snake oil salesman. I wonder if snake oil actually has any uses. That'd be kind of sweet. Fuck. My thing doesn't work. I spent all that time breathing in salt, and now I have cancer. Yeah, if you laughed, you have to like the stream. Hey, we're at over 500 people now. Floyd weight class won't matter. You ever watch that Mike Tyson cartoon? Yeah, I love that cartoon. Dude, Norm Macdonald on what was it called? Mike Tyson Mystery Team or some shit? That shit was so fucking funny, dude. It was like 2 seasons. I need to like just buy both those seasons just for the sake of having it. But goddamn, Norm Macdonald was so fucking funny. Every character in that was so funny. It was just a good all-around show. So I've worked in a couple hotels in the past, mainly at the front desk direct. Wait a second. Oh, I thought I already read this fucking story. No, I didn't. Mike Tyson's Mysteries, yeah, that shit was great. So I've worked in a couple hotels in the past, mainly at the front desk dealing directly with the guests. I must say I loved working the graveyard shifts. You never know what kind of interesting situations you might encounter. It always seemed fun, especially on holidays. That day we were full. No more check-ins for me, so it was going to be a light night. I always had an accountant and a security guard in the lobby during my shift, but since it was a calm night, the accountant went to find a place to nap after he was done, and I honestly didn't know where the guard was. They thought since there was no more check-ins, I thought since there was no more check-ins, I should be fine. I was going through the log from the last shift, and I found a sticky note with my name, and it also said, "Beware 305. No details or anything. I was looking at the monitor with the cameras and clicked on the screen that showed the hallway where room 305 was. Left it there while I finished my work. At around 3 a.m., I was still alone, and from the corner of my eye, I saw movement on the monitor. It was a guy. He seemed pretty regular, not creepy at all. He got closer to the front desk and requested his room to be cleaned. We didn't offer 24/7 housekeeping, so I informed him that. "Then you come clean. I sleep all day and want my room clean done." Fuck. "Well, then you come clean. I sleep all day and want my cleaning done during the night." I told him very politely that I couldn't do that, and before I could keep explaining, he asked for my zodiac sign. I answered, a bit confused. All of a sudden, he changes the subject, now talking about how he was a warrior in one of his past lives, and that in this life, he comes from a long line of warriors. He kept changing subjects every 2 minutes, and I couldn't keep up. Suddenly, "So, should we start heading up to my room?" Again, I explained. He started getting this weird look on his face, like frustration. He just turned around and walked up to his room. 20 minutes later, I saw him on the monitor coming down again. This time, he took the stairs and stopped before turning to the lobby. He was standing there watching me through a pillar. I was standing in front of the monitor, so it may have looked like I was just working. He then started looking around, almost like checking if there was any other way to get closer without me knowing. I started to get a bit freaked out. It literally looked like he was stalking me. He went up one flight of stairs, then got into the elevator down to the lobby. I imagine he didn't know I had access to the cameras. He came closer to the front desk and requested a tray with water, teas, and milk. I called the kitchen to place the order and let him know that it would be taken up. He asked again what time I was going to clean, and I just told him 7 a.m. when housekeeping arrives. I started trying to locate the guard. At this point, I was getting concerned for my own safety. This guy was starting to act a bit erratic. Before he turns to leave, he gave me an expecting look, opening his eyes wide. I have like 20 types of drugs in my system right now. That's why I'm awake and sleep all day. My body's going 1,000 miles per hour right now. I didn't know how to answer, honestly, so I asked if he needed medical assistance. He laughed and asked if I wanted to join him for tea. I declined. He left for his room once again. After room service delivered his tea, the waiter went by the front desk. Hey, so we need security to be here with you. The guy from 305 just asked me if he could use our stairs to get to the front desk without being seen. But first he offered me money to convince you to go to his room. I was freaked out for sure. But since another person knew of the situation, it gave me a sense of safety, I guess. The waiter left me to try and look for the security guard. At 5 a.m., the guest comes out of his room again. This time, he headed for the maintenance stairs. I didn't have access to the cameras there, but I knew he couldn't get close to me without me seeing him, so I didn't feel in any danger, really. The waiter showed up and told me that one of the security guards caught the guest trying to get to the front desk. The guest kept repeating that it was my idea, that I had been trying to go to his room all night, and that I told him to go through those stairs. The guard made a report about the incident and added what the guest said about me, so it became a bit of a big deal with upper management because it was made to look like the guest was right. Turned out, while they were investigating the situation, some of the female staff claimed he tried to get them to his... Whoops. Strong pass on the roofie tea. Yeah, probably. Same here. Is Granger Taylor with you in that spaceship? Who's Granger Taylor? What if aliens are actually crab people? Maybe. Never know. What if aliens are actually us? I guess we would be aliens to somebody. Your mom just accidentally dialed 911. Hello, 911? How are you? The guard that was supposed to... Oh, wait. Turned out that they were investigating the situation. Oh, okay. Turned out, while they were investigating the situation, some of the female staff claimed he tried to get them to his room under any pretext, but since the attempts were really obvious and he seemed out of it, they would just go in a group or send a male coworker. We've had creeps in the past, but this guy took the prize. We've had creeps in the past, but this guy took the prize. The guard that was supposed to be with me fell asleep in the bathroom and was suspended after that. The accountant was reprimanded for leaving me alone also, and they were horrible to work with after that because they claimed it was my fault. Management tended to always be on the guest's side for any type of situation, so no one thought of reporting this guest. They would have fired me for what he said had it not been for the waiter speaking up. That sucks. How are you feeling cold-wise? I feel good. It is chilly down here in hell. You're a gentle person. You love murder shot? What's murder shot? What's murder shot? I don't feel like reading this story. It's so fucking long. Are you doing a gameplay series for horror games? I am not. Basically, I just read scary stories on here and like record the process. I'm also inhaling a salt inhaler to help with my sickness. Hello, police. There's a goofy goober in my house. But yeah, I just read stories on the channel. I don't know if you were asking that because I'm streaming or whatever. I would like to have, like, you know, horror gameplay in the background of videos, but I used to have that. Wait, what's it about? What's it about? Oh, it's like a bunch of stories. Like there's like 10 stories in this video. You can see like kind of like the vibe that my channel goes for if you go to like the actual channel. Oh, Fry, you gotta go. See you, dude. Thanks for modding. Love you, bro. Peace out. Boy Scout. Joel, it doesn't work. Stop using. I don't know. It feels good. I like this. There's a little bit of a taste of salt. Joy, your beard hair is tickling your upper lip always. Sometimes my beard will get so long that like when I eat, I'll like bite onto my upper lip hairs. Well, not like upper, but like the hairs grow so long. I declare bankruptcy! I already gave my germs to everyone in the chat. Do you play horror games? I have in the past. I haven't in like a long time though. I don't even know what horror games are out right now. My one friend was played the shit out of what the fuck's it called? Poppy Playtime, and then that newer Freddy Fart Bear. Okay, anyways. I didn't like the video game going in the background because I try to follow the game and lose the story. Oh, yeah. I guess that is what people complain about a lot. Is like they'd subconsciously watch the game so much that like the story... I wonder if there was any benefit from it, you know what I mean? Like, I guess it probably didn't help sleeping because you're staring at the screen, but... I've never heard of a salt inhaler. I just do that boiling water and then put my face over the steam with a sheet over myself. Okay, interesting. And if I drop horror stories while and plays Call of Duty Cold War. Am I a fan of Blink-182? I did have a few of their albums growing up. I had one of the big ones I got in like 6th grade was Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. And it took me so fucking long as like a young middle schooler to realize like the innuendo that was there. Oh, I was so innocent. But I remember that one song where it's like, I wanna fuck a dog in the ass, wanna fuck a dog in the ass, wanna fuck a dog. I don't know if you remember that one. It was like a bonus track at the end, but I remember that came on with my mom in the car, and I'm like, I'm like in 6th or 7th grade or some shit, and she actually laughed really hard at that, so that was kind of cool. What's my stance? My stance on aliens among us on Earth? I don't know. It's entirely possible. Maybe I'm one, and you have no idea. When I was about 12 years old, me and my mom had run out of gas as we were on our way home at about 9 p.m. We pushed the car off to a side street that led to some warehouses that were closed and turned on our hazards. My mom being the intelligentsia. Wait. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. Tom DeLonge. Oh yeah, he was really into aliens and shit. I wonder why he was so obsessed with aliens. Did he actually, like, was he part of a cult or some shit? Or was he... Oh, Among Us. Among Us. If anyone's an alien, it's Joel. Thanks. Yeah, why was Tom DeLonge so obsessed with aliens? Like, what was the deal with that? How many stories are left? This is the last story. I do apologize. Dun, 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 dun. I should play an SCP game? What? Your mother swears she was abducted when you were a baby, both of us, but I can't help you. I was wide awake and smiling, so that must be cool. Well, yeah, I remember I think you mentioned about how, like, you had, like, that time loss or your mom told you it was, like, a time loss where it was just, like, 3 hours into the future or something out of nowhere on, like, a long abandoned road, which is pretty consistent with, like, UFO stories. But you could do, what was it, that reverse hypnosis shit? You know what I'm talking about? I hear that that's, like, used to, like, unlock some memories that people have from alien abductions and shit. Timur Ali with the 179-pound thank you, Timur. Last call, bitches. Yeah, I don't know. There was like one story before this, but it's so fucking long, and I feel like it's gonna not be great. So strange. She became incredibly apologetic, then got angry, then started trying to manipulate me in the meeting. Apologizing and putting herself down. Yeah, this seems like one of those long-ass stories that just likes to see itself type. Go watch all the Screams in order. I feel like that Scream guy, like, after 5 movies, like, something supernatural has to be happening, kind of like Jason Voorhees. Yeah, she lost 100 miles in high desert. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's pretty consistent, though, with those, like, alien abduction stories. Losing time, losing distance, and getting something in your butt, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. Wasn't me. Wasn't me stealing you. I promise. But I forget what is it called? Reverse hypnosis, isn't that what it's called? Alright. My mom, being the intelligent person she was, sarcasm, decided to flag down someone as we had no one we could call. The car was my dad's. My mom had gotten hers stolen. After about 20 minutes, a car pulls towards us and offers a ride to the gas station. Of course, he had terms. I was the only one that he'd allowed to ride with him, and my mother, being the stellar parent she was... Fuck, I can't, like, keep up with the story. And my mother, being the stellar parent she was, let me go. The ride to the gas station wasn't much to talk about. On our way back, this guy decides to ask me if... I had been with a guy before. And me being the good noodle I was, of course I said no. My innocent kid mind told me him... And my innocent kid self told him as much. And that's when he started asking me if he could pay to help me with that. He offered $200 and kept going up when I said no. His reassurance to me was, I'm not big, don't worry. Then he proceeded to grab my hand and... this is such an awkward story. I don't want to read this story. It's not that long either. It kind of ends after the first paragraph, but it's just like kind of like a... He asked me to decline once again. I rushed home. I never saw him again, but definitely could have been lurking in the background. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just don't really like stories that have like overt, like, or like it just centers so much around like sexual content. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's like really uncomfortable. I mean, obviously it's uncomfortable in the context, but just like I don't really want to read it. Anyways, that's it. See ya. I'm sorry. You have a house invasion story that happened to you? Nice, yeah, definitely. Well, not nice, but definitely send that in to reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial or email me at letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. The aliens are embedded under the Arctic and Antarctic. Maybe. It's entirely possible. You can 100% see humans sending a probe 10 miles under Jupiter's frozen moon and finding life there. Maybe. It's entirely possible. Everything's just entirely possible. Life is an awesome, awkward story. Kinda. Thanks for providing with the podcast YouTube channels to listen to after a hard day of teaching. Oh, well, thanks for teaching. It's a tough job. And don't remember to check your butt for probes. Yeah, I'm the alien. Don't remember to check your butt, guys. Oh no. Well, I don't know. This is kind of an anticlimactic ending, but I don't know. It's kind of burnout, and like the stories, they as they go down in like upvote value, they tend to get worse. And either like the one before kind of like just seems to be a long story about nothing, and then the final one, like I said, was just kind of like too creepy, I guess, like in a just not conventional way. I don't know. You know what I mean? So I'll just read the outro and we shall continue onward. Dude. Do 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 do. Can you read a quick SCP story? Yeah, where do I go to read a quick SCP story? Do I just go to scp.gov? Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories and big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, the 25th of September. Blah, 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 blah. Da, 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 da. Who wins the Deer or the Astronaut? Who do you think? That's a skinwalker, bro. That's a skinwalker. And that's Mike Tyson in that suit. Kick of Satan. Start my own radio show. Well, I have a podcast and I have the YouTube channel. So, I don't really... I guess the live streams are kind of like a radio show a little bit. Althea with the 5 says, love you, Joel, as always. Thank you, thank you. Donatello is the unofficial mascot of Future Nerds. Donatello should make a comeback, I feel like. Are you an alien from Spa, say? Yeah. An alien ghost vampire from the Poocher.
Hey, listen.
Anybody have anything I can say at the end? It's pronounced Skin Squawker. God dang it, Bobby, it's Skin Squawker. Whew.
Luke, are you your salt giver?
Good sir, would you be interested in making a video about witchy stuff and the trials? I feel like it'd be pretty good. Well, yeah, I just did a video where I talked about the Salem witch trials and that 6 places with creepy backstories. It's like the 4th. There should be timestamps in the pinned comment, unless that's what you're referring to. You like want more of like an elaborated witchy video. Remember to do your salt inhaler. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I can even say that. I feel like it might be taken in as medical advice, and I can't give that. April with the 5 says, thank you, sweet dreams and flying machines, baby. Thank you, April. And remember, burnt oranges taste horrible. Did you burn an orange? How did you burn an orange? Read Puck's soliloquy. Have you heard the tragedy of Dark Plagueis the Wise? Have you heard? Mike Tyson punching a malevolent spirit in space. Ghosts are hot. Prefer to inhale crushed pepper. Oh yeah, I literally just released it. It should be the newest video. 6 places with creepy backstories, and it's like the 4th. It's actually really interesting. Well, it's not sad, but it's just like it really kind of like comprehensively covers most of it for the most part. Not like comprehensively, but a solid amount of it. My battery about to go by. Everybody, thank you, Joel. And remember, eggs are evil. How come nobody's saying anything good? Come on. Come on, I'm giving you a chance. Sometimes it's good to be salty. There you go. That's good. Will with a 20 says, thank you for all your great narrations. Have a great week ahead. Thank you, Will. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, sometimes it's good to be salty. I like that one. That's a good one. All right, my friends. Thank you again for all of your kind words and support, as always. I appreciate it so much. You make life much, much better. And, yeah, I will be getting this edited and up on Patreon first for $1 a month over there. Early access, and then I will have this up on YouTube tomorrow. It's about 10 o'clock here. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. EST, so please do stay tuned for that, and the earlier you can watch it, the more it helps to let YouTube know to recommend it to more people, so whenever you get a chance, no biggie, but I appreciate it. Love you guys. Peace out. And buy some Girl Scout cookies. Later.